The first responsibility of any government is the protection and security of its citizens. And for anybody, at any time, anywhere, saying that when we are being killed as Nigerians, all you will say is that those that are being killed, another group also are being killed. Is that an explanation? I believe that is nonsensical. We are being killed. No matter what religion you belong to, no matter where you come from, no matter what profession, we Nigerians are being killed. And our governments seem to be incapable of protecting us. We are part of the world community. If our government cannot do it, we have right to call on the international community to do for us what our government cannot do for us. And for anybody to say because those who are being killed belong to this region, belong to this religion, belong to this tribe, and then others too are being killed, cannot be an acceptable excuse. If we are being killed, it is the responsibility of government to do something about it. Government should stop of Nigerians, no matter what religion they belong to, no matter what part of the world they belong to, no matter what tribe they belong to. We are being killed. And the killing of Nigerians should be stopped. We have right as Nigerians to appeal to the international community to help where government cannot help us. And we should have no apology for that. Those apologists who are saying, well, those who are killing, they are killing this type of people, and then they are also killing this type of people. That is not acceptable. And nobody should accept that. We will pray, and we will continue to pray. But when we pray, we should also work. We should do what we have to do. We should ask government to do what it has to do at all levels. We should ask our leaders to do what they have to do at all levels, in all walks of life, to preserve life in this country. And we should also, because we are part of the world community, we should also appeal to the international community to help us. We will be irresponsible as citizens to start saying, yes, those who are being killed, and then, yes, these also are being killed. For me, every Nigerian life that is lost is a shame for Nigeria. Every Nigerian life that's lost by those criminals, no matter what reason they give for it, it's a shame for Nigeria. And we should make sure Nigeria gets out of that. And I believe should be said, oh, only one group of people will do it. It's a task where you should have all hands on deck. People of goodwill, people who know what to do, people who can help locally and from outside Nigeria should be required to help. In these days of technology, there should be nobody to hide anywhere after he has committed a crime that cannot be seen. With the present day of satellite, before I left government, I know we had capacity to pick up anybody in Nigeria who commit crime anywhere. The capacity that we didn't have then is after we have identified and located such a criminal, we have no capacity to be able to pick him up without moving on land or by air. Now we have capacity. With drones, you can slip them off. You can take them out. Why are we not doing that? Why are we not apologizing? Why are we negotiating? After government has paid these criminals, government denies. And then it continues. It has to stop. It should appeal to our government to do what needs to be done to stop Nigerians being killed. We are being killed. We are tired of being killed. And we want the killing of Nigerians. Whether they are Christians or Muslims or pagans, they are Nigerians. And the life of every Nigerian matters.
That's right.
So that's right. Baba has spoken as usual. Baba has said many things. Let me see. Welcome to my Sunday school, Holland. And those anybody in no go church. Welcome to Sunday school. Who's that one person? That one high that is always spying on me. Reveal yourself. And the kingdom of God shall be added unto you. State of the nation. What is this man talking about? So today we shall talk about the famous African proverb, I should say, but recently make famous, or should I say, brought to our consciousness by Our Excellency Chimamanda Adichie, The Danger of a Single Side Story. How it applies to our momunes, why we argue the way we argue. Every day, every year, we argue along one line, along the fault lines, as they say. So we are going to look at and why we don't seem, or why we cannot organize. wider world seems to be too complicated for some people to understand or comprehend. It's more or less like a weapon to some people's ear when you say organize. Not because they don't understand what it means literally, but because they know practically how long or what it's going to entail to achieve results. So they try as much as they can to find excuses or just go out blatantly and tell you it's not going to work. So we'll look at it from that single side story perfect. Look at it why. Cite example from the terrorism that is going on, then the political how they weaponize it too. So first of all, let's see how our Mumu don't reach according to area father. I be with the know Charlie boy. I be first of all, Basinjo coming out loudly and this fashion very telling. He came out to support his son. Uh, He know too well that the way his son responded, I'm talking about none other person, by Peter Obi, is going to be taken out of context or seen controversial or whatever. However, you see what Peter Obi says, right? And of course, we talked about it here about 2 days ago when the government of the day came out and response to be that they shall or we never forget when he is inviting foreigner to come and invade the country. That's how he phrased it, talking about the spokesperson to the government, Bayo Ananuga. So that caused a little bit of a brouhaha. And Baba used that as an opportunity to say, you know what, this is my stance, so this is my take. So it's a very telling. I don't expect him to throw Obi under the box, but rather to back him up. And he came out in a fashion, in a way that also say, hey, the game is on. 2027, we are in. We are in. Anyway, that's another conversation. The story continues. But he spoke along what I'm about to talk about, which is what? The single side story, how they are painting the whole terrorism, banditry, Islamization, whatever, with just one brush. We are the loudest country on the fucking planet Earth, by the virtue of our number, I would say 200 million, 220 million loud. I don't know if we are louder than India or louder than America or Brazil. This country are relatively humongous and bigger than us, so it's by number. China. But we are credited to be the loudest country on the earth. When we argue on platforms, Dr. Damage's show is a classical example to which I am a participant and a court priest at the same time. I'm also a patronizer of that. So I'm guilty as charged. The quietest country on earth when it comes to build something that lasts. That's where organizing fails. Or we fails organizing. To organize. So when it comes to build something that lasts, we seem to be very quiet, even though we are credited as the loudest. We can fill stadiums for politicians who promise heavens tomorrow. The obedience are classic examples. Kwankwaso are also a culprits. The Buaris, the articulated, are culprits of filling a stadium when a politician promises everyone on earth tomorrow. We can shut down the whole internet with tribal insults in one afternoon. But ask us to pay 1,000 naira every month for 10 years so our children can have really a real labor union, a real opposition party, a real citizens movement that cannot be bought or bullied, and suddenly everybody could disappear. That's that thin line between the loudest people on earth and the quietest people on earth. And it plays again. We manifest that at every stage of our development. As teenagers, the same things. Youth, young adults, nothing. That's why even our leaders cannot even find a way to navigate their differences and build a unity of purpose in a way which by everyone will see achieve whatever the fuck they want. Why? Because they sold us the single story a long time ago. Your problem is the other tribe. Your solution is the next Messiah. Never the person sitting next to you right there and now. They constantly sold that one-sided story. Now that tribe, now that person. Never the person sitting next to you. So we wait. We wait for Obi. We waited for Tinubu. We are waiting for Kwankwaso. We wait for North to finish their turn. Now we are waiting for the South to also finish their turn. We wait for Yoruba to collect their own. We wait, we wait, we wait, we waited, we waited, we waited, we waited, we waited, we waited. Why the same people keep on eating and eating and buying the latest Lamborghini, the latest Rolls Royce, buying private jets, having the best Christmas, Hey, they are also in for the dirty December too. Fuck that. It's not only for average people anymore. Now you gotta pay to have fun. Anyway, don't talk so I talk more. Imagine if tomorrow we stop waiting. Imagine if the trader in Indonesia, in Sabongeri, Monday market, and the Okada riders in Ogoja, in Okene, decide their empty pockets have the same color. Imagine if the teacher in Meduguri and the nurse in Enugu agree that darkness in their homes feel exactly the same at night. Imagine if we sat down together, not to shout, but to pay dues, to plan, to build something that does not collapse the day one leader is arrested or bribed. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine They are terrified of that day. If we just feel trial, let everybody organize. We'll come to that. That is why they keep the microphone pointed in one direction, which is also speak to the danger of one-sided story. They constantly bring one side of the story. That is why every attempt at reorganization is quickly baptized with tribal names and sects. That's why George Ogadi asked me, you want three state solution? Where are the boundaries? Where are the boundaries? Why do you care about the boundaries if you also believe that there's something like three state solution? Is so head bent on knowing the boundaries so that he can start say, oh, it's not going to work. Those people no go agree. That's not the point. We are past that. Join the organization. In that process, we bettered we answer all your curiosity, or in fact, inculcate your own ideas into the process too. But the microphone can be turned. It is not made of iron. It is held by human hands. And that tremble when enough of us stand up at the same time. So I'm asking you now, quickly, stop waiting for the next savior. Start building with the person next to you, even if he pays differently, even if she speaks with a different accent. Because the way we start organizing around what hurt us, or that's why it always shock me. You argue every day. If you agree that this is the problem, but you can't ask what's the solution. God damn it, the solution is within that problem. Just do the opposite of that. You find the solution. Organize around what you believe is hurt to you. Now corruption now hurt you. Now injustice, whatever the fuck you know speaks to you. Organize around that and see what will come out of it on the long run. So organize around what hurt us all instead of what divide us. That will be the day the single story dies and Nigeria finally begins to live. Until then, we will keep coming to the table and having hungry because only one voice was allowed to speak. Turn on the microphones around and your neighbor is ready. Are you? So the narrative around terrorism is one-sided. They want us to see every banditry, every kidnapping, every killing, every bombing, every massacre, every genocide, everything that happened with one lens: terrorism, terrorists. No, and that's why you can never find solution to it. Putting it that way only would increase the budget for those who are at the arena to just keep enriching themselves. The police chiefs, the politicians, the business uh, merchants, both those that even specialize in fear and force. Onye na-eme mma, onye na-eme mmadụ kwala ọzọ. Onye na-eme mma, onye na-eme mmadụ kwala ọzọ. Now, three people did there. You guys welcome, like, share, and subscribe. Hmm? I'm here. Oh, no worry, no be AI. I'm here. So the danger of a single side story is an ancient proverb. You don't take, and it's an African thing too. I think any part of Africa you originated from, that saying should not be strange, even though it was often attributed to Nigeria, or should I say misattributed as Nigerian. But originally it's from it's a broad as in the broader West African traditions. There's the best way to say until the lions learn how to write, every story will glorify the hunter. Until the lion learns how to write, every story will glorify the hunter. It is the core danger of a single style story. It's almost and always incomplete. Or one would say deliberately distorted at times, just to fit one's agenda. That's when only one perspective is allowed to dominate, which is the idea of terrorism, terrorism, terrorism. Every small thing, terrorism. Anybody slapping wife or anywhere, terrorism, terrorism. You know. So that dominates the conversation. But just that's just one aspect of the story. But that's the most paid one. And some people will say that's the propaganda, right? It's predicated on real life events, but they just point and push out to suit one's agenda and narrative. Also can be said as propaganda. So whether in history, news, politics, relationship, you know, even science. So if people say reality gets flattened into propaganda, and there are costs to that. Truth become the first casualty, whatever that means. Truth now become the first casualty. As a single narrative, first of all, you hide coherent facts. Just like when this them Jide and Co always muzzle about Vietnam war. And I understand. And most of the textbooks that you read, it's almost entirely from the US government viewpoints. And now we begin to see when you begin to go into the disclassified documents of the Vietnamese, where you read, listen to their voices, you get this full scale of what really transpired in Vietnam, the kind of danger, the kind of atrocity that actually took place. Whoever thought say America no win that war, American fail. But that was not the objective. The objective is just to decimate them beyond, far to the Stone Age. Because they dare to say, we want to produce our primary, the first beneficiary or the primary beneficiary of our resources should be the citizen. By so doing, we will coordinate our governance, our market system in a way that will be nationalistic oriented. America say, hell fuck no. Or should I say the Washington or Washington DC or Pentagon? They say, hell fuck no. Because if we allow these people to do that trajectory, before you know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry within that region, we start dreaming, having the same dream. So they descended on them. They set them back for generations. That's why they went there. So they don't go there to say one win, waiting. The best way you they fight with now you go win. They went to beat people, say you go win. And when I say me and you they fight, now you go say winner. If I say they can't beat you, that means you know go feel you raise a finger. Like I'll beat you like small picking. So there's nothing like just because you know cry, no mean say I don't beat you. That's right. That's the point of going to Vietnam. So when one sided story dominates the whole point, which is they went there for war against whatever and they lost. The same thing with Libya. Oh, what's it called? Gaddafi. One create one currency, one Africa, one one da. Those are just one single side of the story that they want to dominate their own airwave anyway, because that's where we got our new information from. But the real mission going to Libya is to set an example again to all other African countries that want to go independent of the West. How dare you, Nigeria, make sure that the oil benefit everybody in Nigeria? How dare you? Because the only way to achieve that is to have a nationalistic government that protect its economy from every Tom, Dick, and Harry from outside and within, and opening up to the citizens. That's the only way that will happen. And that America forbids, but American foreign policy forbids. So they use Gaddafi, who have succeeded, enriching his people, their standard of living. Life was good, better than any developed country you can think of. They say, "Hell fucking no." They have to go there, set them back. What's Libya today? So it's an example to our leaders, all these people they look for power. Then get the message. Get the message. South Africa is in the process. Either is they set them back way back, or he succeeds. And freeing himself from one superpower to another, to a regional power base. That's the danger of a single star story. So you can't even organize again that kind of fight. You now left the job for the African leaders alone to now analyze the situation in Libya. None of it. But the message not to them. Well, if you let an average African say that is the goal, we will change our strategy. We will begin to look for a leader that has the balls, that is ready to sacrifice everything rather than sacrifice all of us. Another problem of one single started story is that it creates false narrative, binaries, so many things. You are either with us, you are against us. Right? Christian genocide. You're either for Christian or you are Islamic terrorist sympathizer. So even if they kidnap anybody anywhere, it falls into Christian genocide narrative, whether with us or you're against us. A single story turn complete situation into good versus evil. There's no room. You have to be against us or you are with us. No new rooms for nuances at all. Just like the Palestinian and Israel kind of a thing. Russia and Ukraine. Gotta be on either side. The tribal war, the Igbos with the Fulani or with the Yorubas. The remaining of us don't count. Every power move is seen along these three tribes. So instead of seeking for the truth, why the economy bad, why things are the way they are, we cheer for our team, cheer for our leader, we cheer for either side we belongs to. So instead of seeking for who are those people who are doing the banditry, what is their grievances? Are they really following the Islamic agenda, or are they actually those who are doing what they are doing because they feel their land has been encroached upon? Or are we so grouping them, all those ones who are doing whatever they are doing because it's their way of life? So the first principle of analyzing the issue, if we don't begin to be in that, there's no way we can have a solution. But the idea of terrorism is a business, pretty much an institution, pretty much a marketing strategy, however you want to classify them, because intellectuals are involved, big time business people are involved, and government people are also flexing their power. So it's not something that just riffraffs on the streets or disgruntled people that carry, no. Listen to a little bit of what South Africa is going through. If they will survive, or they will they will get it, they will skate through.
Gesture, I see the predictable behavior of a great power when I look at the decision by Donald Trump to push for South Africa's removal from the G20 and to terminate all American aid to Pretoria. I do not see an aberration or an emotional gesture. I see the predictable behavior of a great power operating under conditions of geopolitical anxiety. The United States is no longer sitting atop an uncontested unipolar order. It is facing the steady rise of China, the deepening strategic partnership between Beijing and Moscow, and the accelerating consolidation of the global South. Under such conditions, American policymakers, particularly those driven by transactional instincts, inevitably revert to pressure, punishment, and coercion as tools to preserve influence. Trump merely expresses this logic more openly than his predecessors. The liberal veneer that once softened American statecraft has worn thin. What remains is the raw logic of power politics. Since the end of the Cold War, Washington largely assumed that its preferences would be accepted as universal. It expected states like South Africa to align with the Western order, participate in its institutions, and avoid strategic intimacy with American adversaries. However, South Africa never fully internalized Washington's preferences. Its long-standing leadership in the non-aligned movement, its deep historical ties to the global South, and its growing role within BRICS placed it in a fundamentally different geopolitical orbit. Over the past decade, Pretoria has openly pursued closer diplomatic, economic, and security ties with China and Russia. It has refused to follow Washington's line on Ukraine. It has condemned Israel's campaign in Gaza, even taking the issue to the International Court of Justice, and it has positioned itself as a spokesperson for states that reject Western dominance. From a realist perspective, Such behavior was bound to trigger an American response. Trump's move, therefore, should not surprise anyone. It is the logical extension of a strategic worldview in which loyalty is transactional. Dissent is intolerable, and global influence must be protected through punitive tools. The United States has used economic coercion for decades: sanctions, aid withdrawals, institutional exclusion. Barack Obama suspended aid to Egypt after the 2013 military coup. George W. Bush restricted assistance to countries that refused to sign immunity agreements for American personnel. Trump is simply applying that same coercive instrument to a state that Washington increasingly sees as drifting into an opposing camp. The decision to target South Africa's G20 participation reflects another important dimension of American power: the ability to weaponize institutions. Washington helped build the G20 in 1999 to integrate emerging economies into a cooperative framework that preserved American leadership in global economic governance. When states inside that system begin to challenge U.S. preferences, exclusion becomes an attractive mechanism for restoring discipline.
So see this headline from Sahara Reporters. Okay, I can get one. Well, this is from Sahara Condor reconnaissances. I wish can come up with that. Census over Borno State to monitor ISWAP under Nigerian military deal. Under Nigerian military drift, expert says. So, which can deal they sign? We don't know the deal with they sign. We don't know the terms of the deal. But a security expert, tracker, and a jihadi expert with special focus on the Sahel, Brian Phillips, has claimed that the United States has begun conducting operation inside Nigeria as part of an agreement with the Nigerian government aimed at tackling escalating terrorism. He stated on Saturday that the United States aircraft carried out an operation in Borno State, noting that the aircraft took off from Accra, Ghana. And their base be that American and get Ghana, get their airports, get their pretty much everything. Confirming my earlier report, a named US ISR aircraft was conducting reconnaissances earlier today over a sub-territory in southeastern Lake Chad, Borno State, Northeast Nigeria. It originally took off from Accra, Ghana, and is currently on its way back, he wrote on X. Earlier on Tuesday, Brand had stated the U.S. Department of War has already conducted reconnaissance operation in western Nigeria from their base in Ghana without any public permission announced by the Nigerian government, possibly agreeing being behind closed door. So shit is happening. The question is, what is the agreement? We don't know. Again, they all fall into that single side story. We don't know the context of the agreements. We don't know what it is. So what happened if they finish after a couple of days? They say, well, they have technically defeated the quote unquote those responsible for the Christian genocide, the terrorists. Well, and the kidnapping no stop. The kidnapping still continues. What happened? See the whole point of painting everything with just one side, one lens. So another danger for that is what? Manufacturing consents. When people only hear one version, they consent to policy, war, law, or social judgments. They will reject it exposed. They will reject if exposed to the full picture. Openly brag about these techniques in the net. So that the same. That's why when they even people like GD, when you tell them say come, not every situation. This your geopolitics apply from the get go necessary. Now lie, even when you make us sit there, see this shout on top of that for public. You know, that's what manufacturing concerns though, because they've already consumed the propaganda aspect of it. And the today algorithm could feed you with that area of your belief 24/7 from different angle and version. You could begin to say, yes, you are right. It makes you intellectually lazy and emotionally manipulatable. That's what I was saying. One single directory does. Consuming only one side feel comforting because it removes cognitive dissonance, but it also makes you easy prey for the next polished narrative that comes along. People like the two Ninja, they consume so much of Candy Owens and the far narrative that anything else it's not feasible. So some real world example here, COVID-19 origin for over years, any discussion of lab leak was branded conspiracy theories. And censors. Eventually, it became legitimate hypothesis even among intelligence agencies. Yeah, some of us are victims of that. Gaza, the same thing, 2020 to 24, depending on which side media you follow, you either see heroic defense against terrorism or genocide occupation. Both contain fragments of truth. Neither is the full story. The same thing with the trans issue in sports media. One side says inclusion at all costs. The other side says biological reality matters. Almost no mainstream outlets give both sides equal weight and rigor. So public opinion split into one wearing camp and instead of converging or evidence-based comparison. So to actively protect yourself from this one-sided single story, you have to seek out primary source from all sides. That's why if you listen to people on the background in Nigeria, the reality is different. And any issue that we argue about online, because we consume just mainstream media to get our source. We don't take our time to actually even make calls, read local newspaper, listen to local people to hear the nuances of the argument. So read people who are being cancelled or shadow banned. Those people that they want you not to listen to, not to read about, those are the people you should do read or talk about it. They often have the part of the story everyone else is afraid to touch. So it's going to be very discomfortable. It's not going to be comfortable temporarily. You feel confused after hearing multiple sides. It's a sign you are getting closer to the truth. In short, a single story is not just, it's fact, it's incomplete. It's a form of power. And those who control the story controls the world. That's the point I'm trying to make. That how we share everything we talk about is our own orchestration. Because if this day people think a bomb to Nigeria that so fetition on physical control, I understand, but to information what the dangerous weapon is information. Once school control what you talk about. If I control what you consume, what you talk about every day, I control your actions. Just like your food. What I feed you with, that's how you are going to turn out physically. Most of the time, even the way you act and behave. So it's a form of power, and those who control the story control the world. Never trust anyone who insists there is only one legitimate version of events. No, that's what I keep saying. There are many routes to a market. It's an event. History is the study of events. That's pretty much what history is about. Just like the way today that life, all our activities, people are studying it. Thank God these days now, AI quicker than we can ever imagine. That's why I keep saying it. There's no way you can twist people reality story these days, even no matter how dumb and stupid those people are. Because it's been streamed live. So you just gotta go with it. Never trust anyone who insists there is only one legitimate version of the story. The truth almost always lives in the tension between competing narrative, not in comfortable certainty. And how you both they speak. Ba, 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 ba. So campaign don't start for 2027. That's pretty much what Obasanjo came out to tell us when he said, yes, we need help. Event of late shows that Atiku came out to say, okay, this is the route I'm going to take to Asura come 27. So the only person that the whole world is waiting for now is Greg Peter Obi. And I don't know where you would do it before Christmas or New Year, because if anything after February, it becomes too much interesting, too much tense. So within the next 2-3 months, we unveil its routes to 2027. Then everybody will begin pick a side. Again, we will fall into that danger of a single style story. So we'll begin to mobilize against one person, not necessarily now put the problem before us and organize according to the issues. And this it comes with the kind of politics we are playing, right? In 2027, when a passenger first come in, 2019 to 2027, the dominant single style story that time. We Nigerians, we were told that OBJ is the father of modern Nigerian. He saved us from military rules and paid off our debt. That was dominant within that Obasanjo first time, right? They bombarded us. Our Obasanjo saved us democracy is the one that literally bettered this Fourth Republic, forgive her. He was able to run around the world, make sure our debts were forgiven. And the guy is still one of his bragging rights. If you ask me, if you ask people, they will tell you that that is his legacy. All right. But 2023 to 2027, what characterized that period for me was the rigging of the election of 2023, the rigging of the 2027, at a scale that Tinubu said he learned, right? Third time plot. This motherfucker wanted to go for third time. Spent billions and billions and billions of naira and wasted time and other resources because he won't go for third time. Imagine that kind of thing. They loot systematically. These days na Ganguje style. Like they saw money for, but I know that Obasanjo was clever. He bring a lot of people from outside the country to create a system whereby money they go. They started privatizing heaven and earth, sell pretty much all our assets to his friends and cronies. Transcorp now one of the biggest scam. Political assassination. Bola Ige, one of them. Rotimi Williams, Harry Marshall. You can go on and on and on and on. That is Obasanjo regime, as far as I'm concerned. No be father of the nation, for death, blood. No. Those are just crap. So during that period, Nigeria have to accept rigged. I mean, because carriers can't go this month. So maybe now we refuse to tell the younger ones that this is a practice that Obasanjo actually bettered. Right? So we accepted rigging, election rigging as normal. That's why I can go on national television and talk about it. I will not be sanctioned. But if you talk about organizing, bringing people together in any shape other than what they sanction, you will never be on air. So that becomes the norms and the narrative. And it was very strong. That's a Obasanjo period. The danger of a single side story. And why it's very difficult to organize when we are bombarded with binary options. From 2015 to 2023, Buhari. No. Jonathan self. Jonathan, 2027 to 2015. To 2015. 2007 to 2015. I don't miss here. Like, share, and subscribe. I see 3 people there. The dominant story, the single story during Jonathan era is that Jonathan is a humble. What did they say to us? Jonathan is humble. That's at the beginning. Before you know, the contest is a clueless Ijon man who brought corruption to the level that I've never been seen before, and that's true. Under good luck, even old people for village no say money they worker for streets, but Ghana must go. That was it. But the media make sure they stay on that, especially the media run by the northern people and the western people. They stay on that bullshit. I rented my rant with fallacy. Your neighbor is ready. What the heck are you talking about, sir, George? What do you mean? I don't understand. Make me understand. Who's my neighbor is ready? Make me understand. But in what the missing piece of during Good Luck era is that Good Luck actually started many of the anti-corruption institution. The BVN, we will single treasury accounts, right? That Buhari later used. Oil theft and looting. That was at the height. So now military officers they in charge then. So they were looting, but they frame Desiani as the baron, as the arrowhead. Right? The danger of that period, the danger of then selling us one single side of Jonathan is the entire South and Southeast were painted as corrupt, justifying their political marginalization for 2025. You see, those people where they follow me argue about that there is no marriage between the north and the southwest. They think that they write them as a law or document somewhere. But a gentleman agreement. Okay, you said what? One major problem with your organization, you will all hate each other. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't even know. Did you read your own summary? I know. Just understand. Man, it's very hard to respond to people like you, Oga, because you reason very shallow. Let me just you. I reason like they reason like nursery school picking. Tell me where I tell just any organization. I'm only proposing that is the route to go. So all you just end on poking problem, loopholes. If there are no problem, there will be need of talking about organization in the first place. Like, I don't just understand you. Now with the problem. We now go see, this is the problem. Okay, what's the solution? What's the solution? What? Okay, we'll tell you the solution. We say, okay, no, forget about all that. It's a process, and the process involves trial and error. That is why it's called organizing. Use your body as an example. That organizing is a two-word thing, a two-word. Organs and eyes. Just look for the meaning of those two things. Use your body as an example. Your hand works separately, your leg works, your mouth works separately. But for the whole body to function, they have to coordinate at one point. So all you do is to looking for problem. If there are not those problems, we will be talking about organizing. You say, oh, we no go agree, we no go. Of course, we are human beings. How we go agree in the first place? If everybody agree as one, the world say will not be fun. It's fucking crazy. Man, what do you mean by your neighbor? What do you think I mean by your neighbor is ready? What do you think I mean by your neighbor is ready? Now they comprehend to argue. I am just simply saying, instead of you to question everything, just make them go. Let's go. That guy is worrying about Biafra. That one is worrying about corruption. The other one is worrying about looting. They are ready. That's what I mean. These people are ready. That is mean they have identified a problem. So how do we now connect that to be on one organization? That's what I mean by your neighbor is ready. I don't know why. I don't know why things they very hard to comprehend at that time. You ended your round with a fallacy. Your neighbor is ready. So you just take out literally. You just take it literally. Huh? The fact that you have identified a problem means you are ready. You are no longer in the wilderness. You are no longer in the dark. You've already identified a problem. Means you are ready. I don't have to convince you anymore. It's just for me to now prove to you, make you see or make you understand that I'm also ready. That's what it means, my brother. Oh, wow. You know that what we should stop chasing, say he has to be OB, he has to be Kwankwaso, he has to be PDP, he has to be APC. No, organize in what you see as a problem. Let me organize along what I see as a problem. We will meet, and when we meet, we will function as an organization. And some people will say that is what revolution is about. Revolution is an evolution. It's an evolution that leads to process, pocket of evolution. All this disgruntledness that you are seeing everywhere, those are evolution. By the time it comes together, that is what we now call an organization, and they will go for something that may not be, they're not necessarily they are going to win even at all that. But guess what? Continuity will eventually get you to where you are going. So you see why are they kind of they frustrated at times. I know they tell you, say I found the solution and my solution has to be with no. I'm just saying that guy, the fact that he has identified a problem, he is ready. You see, you see, you are still again, you are asking questions just so you find a problem. What is the common purpose will be defined along the line. It is a process. Now, what it make me go off on that guy will come in the name of PhD on Dr. Dameji after he said Bola Tinubu get to where it is today because he follow process. Forget the process will define itself. My purpose and your purpose it's going to be very hard to be the same. But the process of us trying to match those different organs together will redefine the purpose. We are human beings with different abilities and understandings. We are not supposed to have one purpose in life. But the ability for us to come together and define one purpose. So stop asking me what is the purpose. When we get to that place, we will define them. Man, don't forget the event shaped you're moving forward. That's why they say, oh, man proposed, God disposed. That's the literary meaning in terms of we carnal-minded people, is that as we move ahead, events will shape our movement, will shape our journey. Right? We don't even know. Third World War, if it go all out within the next few months, that will reshape our organization again if we're already in that process. No, I want to be questioned. You have to question me from from the place of you trying to understand. Not say you are questioning me as a guy. Shut up! You don't know what you are interrogating me. If I'm making sense, ask as if you don't understand. Because if from your beginning you say Siam, you end your rant with a fallacy. That's not somebody who's trying to understand something. You are trying to tell me that what I'm talking about is bullshit. So that is not somebody who's trying to find out. So I'm responding according to the same energy that I'm perceiving from your question. I'm not getting paranoid unnecessarily. If you do not want to be questioned, how do this move? That's not, you are not, that again, you're not questioning me. You're interrogating me. You don't question me to understand. You questioning me to say everything you're talking about is bullshit. I know it already. So what? That's what I'm perceiving. I'm only responding to the same energy I'm getting from you. Ask a question as if you want to understand. Of course, that's where my job is, to make you understand what I see or I know, not necessarily the broader picture of things, but from my own perspective. And I don't expect you to accept it, but your understanding of it is so we make all of us move forward. you know. But if you don't want to understand me, you want to question what you then there's a problem. If you are too defensive for a professor, I'm not a professor. I'm not. So I don't know why. That's the point. And even if I am, our professor will not be the same. I'm not. Again, I am not putting to the same energy that you are bringing to me. No, don't blame me. Okay, I am a product of my generation. Ask me as if you don't understand me. Not for you to agree with me, but if you understand me, then you can ask a question based on your understanding. But you pay attention to argue. So in other words, you came with a preconceived notion. I am defensive, of course, because you are attacking me. ah, you think I'm denying it? I'm just telling you. I'm giving you the same energy that I'm perceiving. You are professing a solution to Nigerian problem. You will be interrogated, my brother. No, because you are not paying me to provide solution to Nigerian problem. So you don't have the right to interrogate me. I am not under interrogation. Hey, George. That's the problem, you know. You know they pay me. You say you want to interrogate me. I'm not asking for you to vote for me. At the same time, I'm not asking for a job. Yeah, why are you being interrogating me? Well, what have I done? What crime have I committed? Eh, Oga, we are just two stubborn people. You know what admin say, you say you stubborn. Eh? Ambassador Ovie, ambassador to Greenland. Now on. They don't give my job to Reno, so I have to work harder. So before George, Oga, sorry, Oga, I know we are on the same page. I know you understand me, I understand you, right? But you are just being stubborn. You believe that you are the customer, you are always right. No. So where was I? Then from 2015 to 2023, which is Buhari era, and the dominant single style story of Buhari area was, oh, Buhari na Mr. Integrity. You know, he's going to fight corruption, fight Boko Haram, North, South, and West media, carry on for head, then branded the guy. All right. That's what Buhari era, they said that. But the missing story, the silent things that actually really happened that did not dominate the media that much was his nepotism was on a scale that had never been seen before. Like 90% high of 90% of the security chiefs are from North. Not from one even region, not even from North, Northwest. Economic collapse. We become poverty, the capital poverty of the North in 2018. Our debt tripled. The banditry exploded. But they showed us that it was fighting corruption, Boko Haram, it was Mr. Integrity. At the end of the day, what was the cause? Anyone who mentioned nepotism or failure was labeled as IPOB or PDP, whalers. Criticism itself became very what? A treason. That was the cause this side of single side story we then tell us about 2015 to 2023. 2023. Now Tinubu, what did they tell us? Waiting Tinubu to come in, waiting the media tell us. He won a free and fair election. Obi and Atiku a bad loser. Was crying over rigging. Mainstream, especially the Lagos and the Ibadan, all those Oga people there, and George uncle, we get money for media. They bombarded us. Whereas INEC deliberately disabled the result transmission, we know that there's a glitch. Result from Rivers, Lagos, Kano, you know, they mathematically, explode in a way that even Supreme Court they can't use technicality to examine evidence. And what is the cost of that for us as a people? An entire generation of young Nigerians, especially our brother from Southeast, the urban dwellers, the cosmopolitan young people. Everybody now believe election is completely useless. That is poison, politically poison. And the only way we can come back from that is people like Oga and George dust up their cap. May AY carry the money with them thief during uncle as a military chief to go and organize the village people. That's where the hope lies. If not, they'll finish. All of you want people to buy his points without question. I know what is my point, sir, if I ask you. I don't have a point. I ain't selling shit. So I don't know what they buy. I am just saying whatever your grievances is about the Nigerian state, organize along that line. The fact that you have identified problems means you are ready. It's not about me. Leave me. Focus on what means. Let George focus on what he find problematic. Let a wife organize along what they find as a problematic. Maybe I do the same thing. We go meet somewhere. Let's just stay on that. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should leave whatever that you are finding as a problem to focus on me. No, that's not the problem. So I don't know why it is there. I am selling something. I'm not saying. I'm just saying you obviously for you to come to a platform like this means that you identify a problem in Nigeria already, and you are looking for people that hopefully see what you are seeing, right? That's your point. I know that. That's why I don't belong. I'm not an ideological person. I don't belong to any group necessarily. You understand? Because I don't want to be buried in one idea or one way of saying things. Neither do I want to force people to follow me or do I say things. I'm only saying, in order for us to arrive at one destination on the long run, focus on what you think is your problem. Because at the end of the day, I believe in the next world that we're already in, which is what people like James Daly, captivated very well in his book, The Sovereign Individual. In other words, the next world that we are going into is pretty much a replica of the world before the age, during the altar and gathering days, whereby every client, every tribe, whatever they get up, just moving from one place to another, just in one place. This idea of a nation state is what, 300 years old? That's where the world is moving to. That's what the information world is doing. The information world is putting an end to what? Mass communication, mass media. And guess what? Mass democracy. It's over. It might not be in our lifetime, but going forward, the idea is, you have to be a Nigerian to feel special. You have to be an American to get some kind of privileges. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. You can be anywhere located and still live your best life. You don't have to be allegiant to get some special privilege, because that's what nation state is about. So if that is the world ahead of us, I had a section. I had a section here about Biafra might be the next cyber state, and everybody like, this guy did a smoke. I say, well, we'll see. So, okay, I just did my brother, my no verse, so my waiting they happen for our. If we make all of us go back to motherland, go make it right. That's one way to do it, my guy. That's one way to do it. Nobody's objecting to that. But the truth is that where you are going to get it wrong is when you expect everybody to go with you or everybody to go. No, then you are not ready. Just go. Just go and do it and see if somebody will follow or not. If you are waiting for us to come together to do it, then that's where person like our guy is missing the point. If you believe that going back to Nigeria in mass to do it is what is quicker to do it, hey, mashallah, do it. Start campaigning for that. Start marketing it. Start telling people that's what you want. You will see people that will key in. All right? It's also part of the organizing. It's beyond just going back. It takes a lot of, but again, the first step is you doing what you believe in. We have to see it as a body organ, all right? Every organ function separately, differently, at different time, all right? As I talk now, I know the shit, all right? But the point is that the whole body, for it to function very well, every organ has to do its or her own place or her own role. So you lead people to Nigeria. Some people they village already. Some people go to send money for a diaspora. Some people go to shout for like, just we are ready. That's the whole point, Oga. So let's start connecting. Stop questioning people. What is the solution? No, we don't pass that level. We all know that the Nigerian state as it is something has to be done. So stop questioning people. What is the problem? What is the problem? The problem is what you have, and stop questioning people. What is the solution? The solution is the opposite of what you see as a problem. Just do the opposite. If you say the leaders are bad, the opposite is worse. Take them out. I don't understand why we go back and forth so much on something that we already know is the solution. But if you don't prefer solution, but him no want to explain. I don't understand the kind of explanation where I go give you, Oga. I just said you organize along what you see as a problem. What do you want somebody else to do to solve your problem for you? And you don't want to pay for it. My solution I'm providing is self-explanatory. I am saying, Oga, whatever that you identify as a problem, I guarantee you there are 10 other people in Nigeria that also see the way you see. But if you don't come out and walk along that line, those people, you will not ever see them. That's the whole point. Stop trying to force me to abandon what I see as a problem. What I see as a problem is the bias of the media. It's how media paint every situation in a way that favors the owner, the elite. Hence, my platform say honor politics. My job is to constantly make people understand that whatever you are seeing today, there's other side of the story, and this is why. That's my job. That's what I'm doing. Okay? I'm not going to do the same because I don't know what you see as a problem. I see that there's a connection between the outside world and the internal greed of the few elites that is put us where we are. My goal is to keep exposing that connection. So you cannot expect me, right? Unless you want to see what I'm seeing, unless you are seeing what I'm seeing and you want to follow my route, that's fine. But I don't know what you want me to tell you again. My solution is self-explanatory. So just stand and follow your instincts. Whatever you think is a problem, organize a lot, because that's what is going to take you. And use the word organize because you will need help. You cannot do it alone. It's as simple as that. Say of your first move, Mav that one man went to mow, Niger watch damages, just one across over events. Bring them on your platform, make them happen. No. See, that's not how it works. That's not the. I don't believe in that route. No. As I said, just the way everybody is going with their narrative. I don't have anything. I don't have anything wrong with that. Right? I don't know. The idea is we should match them together. No, we are shortchanging ourselves. We are shortchanging ourselves because we are attacking the problem from different perspectives, and that is needed. That is needed. Because if we merge it together now, it's easy for them to even kill us at the same time. No. They no go come. And that I think that's the problem, right? We never feel understand our differences. I keep using the word we. Make a note of say they no understand. No, we never understand our differences. I go Niger watch. First of all, okay, let me start with one man way to move. If he did there, making it respond. The guy kicked me out of his platform. No one make any time because he know what make me I grow. He don't want me to talk about my platform on his platform. Now, what do you think of that? That is the beginning of our divorce. Now, yeah, first start now. All of you know. In fact, the idea of honor politics was bought from his one man went to more. Right? So I don't know what you see me on that. Niger Watch will not let me on his platform because I they use Okpawolo 2028. He say I must remove that name first before he go allow me on. You see that kind of thing. So Dr. Dameji has no problem with us linking my plan. In fact, I remember I don't first bring that idea to Rancef before then we see them to Nigeria, all this thing. I think it was about 4 years ago or so. I tell Dr. I know understand. I say we'll film it. Say anything when I want, make I just let her know. So I mean, but I just feel that we don't need necessarily have to we need more platform rather than trying to merge them as one. We need more platform. No, now to do one event, I think I agree one day, but I believe in physical events. That's why I said organized. I believe in physical events. I know that it's not possible. It's possible. It's just going to be capital intensive. Just money go cost. I believe in events. I believe in doing practical events rather than online. Online activities are taking their own shape already. We need physical structures. We need events. So though we never understand ourselves. That's why it's going to be even hard for us to work together at this point in terms of merging us together. So until we understand ourselves, understand that we see one problem. Yes, the way we see that problem inform our route to the solution. Right? So just like Niger Watch now, they believe a strong man. They believe Obi is the way out of our predicament. I don't have anything wrong with that. I just don't see it like that. Does that mean I will condemn and discourage them? No. I just have to have that understanding. Right? So they could not see beyond the fact that I could not support what they see as the only way out. They just couldn't fathom it. They just can't believe it. Right? I remember when I go during at the height of obedience during the 2023 election. My first time to go Niger Watch, they asked me, and they asked me, say who are the support? I said Kwankwaso. I said Kwankwaso. They were like, why? I said because he carried my state person, my Benin person as a running mate. So that's my interest. Man, these people lost it. They begin hammer me. Police. I was like, hey, calm down. I wanna ask me now, tell you now. I'm not saying we not vote for. I'm not here to convince you people. I'm only here to say this is the reason. So it's maybe with time, with time we will come to the conclusion that we just see things different. And my whole point was trying to make with that relation is that I don't fuck with turn by turn. So Oga, if you guys are ready to finance our maybe first symposium, we will organize big hall for one of those villages, maybe for Okaititi after Nnobi. We organize big viewing center there. Then we bring these 2-3 platform to talk to the people. How about that? So that means we need we have to start raising money for what? The internet projection, why they will get screen and all that. They will have their own stage. We build the stage for them. They have their own panelist. You know, that we every panelist with what they believe in and all that. So we have that conversation. I mean, it's not what you guys are talking about, George, and because and again, I gotta tell you now this story. Was it a couple of days ago within the week? I go on store. I go on JC, I've been JLCJ, one of these Nigerian supermarkets and restaurant. I go buy food. So I know I don't have what I know get waiting I want buy for mine before I go in. So in other words, as soon as I get in, I started to walk around to see the food, to see which one will appeal to me, then to harass my pataza more. So as I dey walk around, notice say one person, one elderly man, one old man, you know, older man, I should say, it was just the look. I know, so I no just okay. I just go finally made up my mind what I want to buy, carry food, carry all those things. I approached the cashier. So the man was literally ahead of me. But it's like he just couldn't held it no more. It was his curiosity the overwhelm him. So he looked me make our eye jam. I mean I don't already figure something out. So I know agree. I know agree look at already. When I look at him, I will smile because he was smiling. So the guy, the man asked me, say, come, say, what be that your name? What's that your name? What's that your name? Imagine. Yeah, I was like, so I said, we never meet before now. How you could ask me what's that your name? Like, she said, me and you don't meet before. He now said, no, say, I dey see you for sorry. So I said, hey, Dr. Dameji. Dr. Dameji shows another platform. They see, OVA. So, and the man approached me in a way. So it was kind of, he was happy. He said, "Oh man, I like you guys. You know, I like you because you guys talk about. You guys are smart. Make I know carry all the glory." He said, "You, but make I make I share out." So then he even offered to pay for my food and all that kind of thing. Immediately, the thing, even though he can't say, "Okay, he go." Now he was listening, talking about us coming together. The man was listening to Niger Watch. In phone, they one of your hand. I mean, in chest pocket. He was listening to Niger Watch. He was trying in the middle of paying for his groceries. At the same time, what in hide they looked me directly to see if he had a deceiver person when you see now the real person. Now this not elderly person. Now, what did I want to tell you immediately? That there are some real people out there, serious minded people who actually take us more serious. Now, what informed my approach yesterday night. I don't know about that night, wherever you are yesterday on Dr. Damages, when they were just going on and on and on and on and on, and I just a voice. I think she'll notice my anger. You guys say this guy the boy. In fact, I won't smoke live. Why did they none of them notice. I did that just to say we argue every time about problem, and they put people sent on hot seat to say what is the solution. Whereas that's what we do here every day. The solution is in our argument. If only we just listen to ourselves at times. So Naja, you left the platform without telling anybody to, without putting anybody in charge, without even informing anybody. But you will have the temerity, the guts to come and be screaming on top of your voice, say Bola Tinubu go leave the country without telling anybody. You don't think Dr. Damage just give you, just put you in charge. You destroy the whole show. But we argue the same thing. They give us leadership role to play. We just destroyed it. We don't care about other people's feelings, cares, times, and all that kind of shit. But we expect our leader to do the same thing. So maybe anyway, I've gone off the the topic of discussion today. Thanks to George and this Oga, where they always torment me. So the danger good side story end up pinning us against some very laudable nonsense. The media bias is another thing. So the Nigerian media na battlefield for incomplete narrative, often amplified by political fundings, ethnic agendas, and global stereotypes. Right? The single story here isn't just lazy reporting. No, 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 no. It's a tool for division. Right? Policy failure. That's why they always try attack to Nigeria when they come. Oh, I listen to this platform. The Yorubas they are doing the Igbos like, dude, you are just you are not helping the situation. You are amplifying it to a different level. Just because you are talking about it doesn't mean you should talk about it. There's so many other things to talk about, which also goes to our question. Just organize. If now that be organize along that line. Forget what I'm organizing on. We go meet when the time arrives. Something will trigger it up. That at that point you have to give up a little bit of ground. I have to get a little bit of ground. Then we will now define the solution. Now, God, answer your question. When you ask of when you were asking what's the common purpose, okay? When the Muslim Brotherhood, let me use the Egypt revolution as an example. When the Islamic Brotherhood were busy organizing the rural dwellers with based on ideologies, based on what they believe the country should run on, conscientizing them, empowering them, investing in that whole organizing process. Do you think the military hierarchy, the military elite have the same ideology, have the same? No, right? The secular other side of the conversation, that's the educated young people in the urban areas, in the big cities, who are secular in their ways of the way they want the nation to move forward. They all have their own differences too. But when that young man lit himself on fire, what happened? Everybody has to give up a little bit of ground to achieve that common purpose. That common purpose was defined overnight that these people had to go. And it doesn't matter who took over from him. And in this case, the majority took over from him, which is the Christian Brotherhood, the Muslim Brotherhood, who have been organizing the rural dwellers for decades. But guess what? Even after they took over power, that common purpose that was forced to brought together by the spark of that event was fragmented again. They didn't agree with what that Muslim brother was running the country. The secular men again flooded the street. So it is a process. That's why I say, oh, George, now trial and error. It's trial and error. That's what every government does. That's what Trump government is doing. That's what Tinubu government is doing. Now trial and error. if you don't know what tomorrow is going to be like, if you cannot predict tomorrow to be exact, every other thing that come after is based on trial and error. I hope I answer that give a better explanation to that common purpose, George. So the single story is the tool for division, policy failure. It is due to the incompetence and policy failure of the government of the day that caused the clash between the real herders men and farmers. Right? They failed to address the encroachment of the overgrowing population. They failed to address the climate change that is driving both the farmers and the cattle raiders crazy. There's so many policy failure, but guess what? Everything was too under terrorism, and thanks to the media narrative, one-sided story. They painted everything to be what terrorism. Even international media intervention. So according to our own sister Chimamanda Adichie, he warns that these one-sided tales flatten Nigerian chaos into the digestible myth. This is quoting from Chimamanda, one single-sided story. And the Christian genocide by Islamists or protests, treacherous plots against the state, the results suppress truth and share suffering, governance rot, and cross-ethnic violence getting buried, fueling apartheid and escalation. So the media as we have it, for the fact that it's politically owned pretty much, the ownership of many media are politically like staunch politician or political merchants, especially those ones with the Lagos, Ibadan, Abuja, the likes of the Punch, these days, so are all owned by elites. So they skew towards pro those in power. Then talking about merging together. If we merge together to be one platform, the possibility of being an echo chamber is there. But what I will propose instead is, how do we build a radio station that all of us can be broadcasting? I'll come on in the morning, do 4 hours. Dr. Damage, go on there, do 4 hours. One man go on there, do 4 hours. Naija did they go do 4 hours? We've covered the day. So we need a radio station that's what we need. We need a house. We need a hub. However, whatever grammar I want to use, that's what we need. Because time will come where we go piece the power that be up, they go switch us off from the internet. they will take us off of social media. And that is the end. So, and again, stand the chance of becoming more of an echo chamber because of the algorithm and the paid influencers, right? By the time they begin to pay us, the story becomes something different. So they pay you to push ethnic agenda, spin something, whatever it is. Then you go by the international filter to who control the media, the Western media, the BBC, and the rest of them. They're serving your purpose. Instead of uniting in the diaspora, Nigeria are even more divided. Now their division is amplified into the internet. Yes, I agree. And that is what I noticed for the past 2 years where I don't even travel the streets of America. Nigerians in diasporas, the solution will not ever come from them now. I don't know of tomorrow. I don't know of the younger because the parents, the diaspora who are of age right now, of age means that business owners, parents, and all that kind of thing, they are not united. Now, the same thing, the same mentality they hold in Nigeria is they just amplify, and as you say, with the internet, everybody do things differently. We come together to have a party, meet at other people's event and fuck with each other, but that's it. We can never have a political coherence. We don't have a political union. We don't have anything that has to unite Nigerianness. There's nothing like that. And I think that borders to the question I was asking the other day. We don't have an identity as a country. There's no unity of purpose. There's no social contract that bind us, the people, together that we have to work and die for. And to make matter worse, for all those within diaspora, America especially, we work. You can argue that the lifestyle we live demand it, the environment we live asks for that, but the rate at which we work, there is no way we can come together. But we can, our money can come together, our resources can come together. But it will take a very solid structure to buy people's obedience, to key into that financially. So I'm not really keen on in diaspora in terms of collectiveness in bringing any solution. No, they organize again for their interests, that's for sure, pocket by pocket. So that's why I shifted my focus to the village people. Those are the people that we can actually mobilize, organize, but it takes a lot of resources, which is where the diaspora might come to play. But Nigerian diaspora sending money back home is not the issue. How do we build a structure to make sure 10% of every money that goes to Nigeria, one way or the other, go to that purse? If they say now $30,000, 30,000, 30 million, whatever, let's say now $1 billion, now Nigerian they donate to Nigerian, that's what donate. 10% of that $1 billion is what? 100K. So, but we need a structure. We need a very viable structure to collect that money, to organize it for a political purpose. But again, say I have the resources, I will build a radio station that's tailored to the village people alone, whereby I will now connect all this platform. To those who live in America, you guys should understand. Breitbart was a radio station. Steve Bannon I won't say breakout, extend out of it to form a war room as a podcast, YouTube, this thing. During the pandemic and Donald Trump first period, they deal with them, sanction them everywhere, block them everywhere. But they resurrected via what? Voice of America. Radio, Voice of America was able to absorb them. So they now stream to Voice of America direct, which is more even better. The people that they want to talk to are those old people, village people who like radio, who see they listen to all those kind of shit. Or another thing that I'm thinking of that also capital extensive is to have a content producer from every state at this point, or every local government, depends, to the reports to my platform directly every day. So instead of relying on Arise news headlines, daily these days news headlines are all those things, we pick our news straight from the market, from the horse's mouth. As I come here now, I will say, okay, oh, within the next 2 minutes, somebody is going to come on from Enugu Street, tell us the situation of things from Enugu. Under 1 hour, 30 minutes, that person is gone. Another person reporting it from Katina. So that will now form the conversation of the day. That will form the organizing, whatever I mean, however we want, whatever we do, that will form sort of relying on the mainstream media, mainstream headlines that shape our conversation every day. So I am preaching unity. Again, you always find way to just ask the same question. You are still asking the same question. Why you are head bent on what I want? Yes, I want unity. Maybe 5 years from now, as I said, events will shape as we go on. Events will shape your plan. Something can happen in the next 2 3 years that make that one unity more viable or less viable. Does that mean I will not say, "Oh, I'm going to be dogmatic"? No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to shift my ground to or accommodate more viable routes. To the goal is to make Nigeria better. What to be Nigeria? Me and you. Whatever it is that he's going to, that unity division, whatever it is, that we make life. It's about tomorrow's generation. What are we going to leave for them? A process that they can decide to either live together or disunite. I think that's the best we can do. So it's not I'm not preaching unity, I'm not preaching disunity. I am preaching we have collectively agreed that our leadership structure needs to be overhauled. I can't do it alone. Even if I believe in one unity, I have to also work with those that don't believe in unity, because they are Nigerians at this point. Working against each other will be to the benefit of those who are in power right now. The why I'm not enjoying my unity is the same reason the succession group are not getting what they want. It's the same reason the northern people are not experiencing peace. It's the same connection. That's why I said whatever that you see as a problem, organize along that line. Because one thing for sure, whatever that you see is the cause of your problem, I'm damn sure it's also the cause of my problem. But the only way you can achieve what your separation is, and where I can achieve my own unity, if we work together. When we get to that bridge, events will shape our understanding, because we might not even get there in our lifetime. So I'm a Nigerian man. It doesn't matter if I'm working against you or for it. I'm not there yet. I'm looking for allies. Those who believe in my idea, and those who don't believe in. I'm ready to work with everybody, because events, life will happen, and it will shape our understanding as we go. With the understanding that we might not win, but the focus is to win as we go along. That's why I believe in taking power back village by village. That's what I believe in. If you really want what I believe in, I believe every community should have sense of governance, should have sense of economic progress that is tailored to their lifestyle. I believe every state should have sense of autonomy. I believe every state should cater for its or her citizens based on what he or she has. Does that mean we should see the next person as enemy? No. That means it is an opportunity for me to be the best in my house, and I expect you to be the best in your house. And by so doing, we will have what? The best environments to coexist in. That's really what I'm working towards. If you ask me, if I had to narrow it down, if I have the resources to back my what I believe in. If I say I guess say I may say today I have $1 billion to back what I have. I just go from village to village and start teaching people, not necessarily to follow me, that the only way they can live their best life, the only way they can fully take advantage of what democracy is about, is for them to take the ownership of their immediate environment. How do you do it? Start voting for people who live within 10 minutes away from you. Anybody that you cannot run to his or her house within 10, drive to his or her house within 10 minutes, don't vote for that person. Anybody who is family and not patronizing the same supermarket, the same market, the same clinic, the same school with you, stop voting for them. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter if that person sabi speak English or not. It doesn't matter if that person go school or not. That person live with you. His kids go to the same school your kids go to. His parents, wife, family, a relative go to the same market they go to. We all drive in the same route. That tell me where you want to go invest in, where you go to fight for. If I have my way, that is what I will be doing. Stop looking toward to Benin or Abuja. That is not good. Take your village back. I see no reason why your local government chairman no go. You know if you work go, if you work go your local government council and local government chairman house. Why? If I go out go drink, I see the councilor say himself they buy the drink. Let's see how he go take misbehave. If you are sending somebody to Abuja to go and represent you at the federal capital territory, if that person family know they live for your community, don't vote for them. If George and Oga Fly come from Europe, vote for me. I know the no, don't do it. Don't do it. Unless in grandmama and in grandpapa, in family, see they live with you now for the same senatorial district. And see if if you can use my neighbor to manipulate me. May you give my neighbor money to come fix our road, make him chop am. Boy, I ain't go see. Boy, in family go live in peace. Boy, in family go live in peace. It's as simple as that. No, I will not. I'm not going there to be fighting governors, to be fighting president. Nah, that's too exhausting. I will organize every community to be responsible for their community. You don't bring a police station into that community whereby 99% of the people, policemen who will serve in that police station are not from that community. No agree. The NEPA manager, the NEPA manager had to be living the same community. School principal has to be living in the same community. The judge of that local government had to, I mean, every public officials had to reside where he or she serve. It's as simple as that. As I said, for a senator, we won't go for state house of assembly, we go need to Edo State, for instance, we go need to go to Benin. I get it. Now Benin, you go work. Now there your office day. But if your family, if your immediate family has to live with you in Benin, I'm fine. But your parents, we have to live with us in that same community, even though we know they vote for you. If that's how it be, your children have to go to the same school where your constituency day. I don't care if you are a senator and you have to serve in Abuja. If you are a senator representing Akoko Edo local government, your children have to be schooling in Akoko Edo. You don't deserve to be a senator if they cannot reside in Edo. This thing are just, they don't fight them. They fight anybody. Don't just vote for them. Simple. Sure. It's very simple. If I have money, I have money. That will be my project. You should be able to walk to your councillor house, is your representative. I don't see why you should not be able to. Senator have to spend 6 months for a constituency every year. How you want to do am? 6 months of the year will be spent in the constituency. We are not looking for PhD holder. You are not looking for somebody who's a bit. Now, those ones are nonsense. We are looking for somebody who we can relate to. Because the whole point is for you to oversee public facility. I want you to be beneficiary of that facility to do. If you do one good, you enjoy. If you don't do one good, nobody going to live for city. As soon as they give you money, where you they pay your tithe. Nah, the church day your city. How you spend your no. Those days should be over. So George, Oga, as I said, this is the beginning of a new world. The end of what? Mass media, mass democracy. We are gradually moving into what? An individual sovereignty style of living. Minyari Jesu abisha chari ama kwekwe. Let's see.
Begin to challenge U.S. preferences, exclusion becomes an attractive mechanism for restoring discipline. Kicking South Africa out of the G20 is not about economic performance. It is about signaling defiance comes with a cost. It is a reminder that the United States still possesses substantial material and institutional leverage, even in a world drifting toward multipolarity. But this behavior also reflects a deeper insecurity. The United States understands that the balance of power is shifting. China's economic rise is relentless. BRICS has expanded dramatically, bringing in major energy producers and regional powers. South Africa, despite its domestic challenges, has become symbolically important as a bridge between Africa and the broader non-Western world. Punishing Pretoria is a way of drawing a line in the sand, a declaration that Washington will not tolerate states that openly align with its strategic rivals. Still, the decision underscores a fundamental problem in American grand strategy: the persistent belief that coercion can force states to abandon their geopolitical interests. Washington has convinced itself that pressure will compel South Africa to moderate its ties with China and Russia. Yet history shows the opposite. When major powers attempt to punish states for pursuing independent foreign policies, those states rarely capitulate. Instead, they often double down, seeking alternative partners and accelerating the very behavior the great power seeks to suppress. This is the tragic irony at the heart of America's latest attempt to preserve primacy. In trying to discipline South Africa, Washington risks further accelerating the emergence of a world it cannot control. When I analyze the deterioration of relations between Washington and Pretoria, what stands out is how slow-burning frictions eventually accumulated into an open rupture. These were not sudden disagreements. They were structural clashes between a great power expecting alignment and a regional power asserting autonomy. South Africa's post-apartheid foreign policy has always been shaped by a desire to escape Western tutelage. It emerged from a liberation movement, not a pro-Western elite. Its strategic identity was never anchored in Atlantic institutions. Instead, it saw itself as part of a broader Southern world, one that rejected the hierarchies of the liberal order. This identity placed it on a collision course with Washington long before Trump decided to retaliate. The first major point of friction came from South Africa's deepening ties with China. Over the past 2 decades, Beijing has become its largest trading partner, a major investor, and an indispensable development partner. South Africa joined BRICS in 2010 and hosted summits that framed the group as an alternative pole of global governance. Washington interpreted this orientation as a direct challenge to Western influence on the African continent. The tension intensified after 2022, when Pretoria refused to adopt the Western narrative on the war in Ukraine. It abstained from UN votes condemning Russia and maintained high-level diplomatic and military engagements with Moscow, including naval exercises with Russian and Chinese forces off the South African coast. For American policymakers, this appeared as more than neutrality. It looked like intentional defiance. Then came the Gaza war. South Africa's decision to accuse Israel of genocide at the International Court of Justice marked the seismic moment. No U.S. ally or partner had ever taken such an aggressive legal stance against an Israeli military campaign. Pretoria saw the move as a moral obligation rooted in its own history. Washington saw it as a hostile political escalation. This divergence cannot be understood in moral terms alone. It reflects a profound strategic disagreement. The United States views Israel as a critical regional asset. South Africa views Israel through the lens of anti-colonial ideology and global South solidarity. These worldviews are irreconcilable. By the time Trump returned to power, the U.S.-South Africa relationship had already undergone years of erosion. Pretoria's insistence on maintaining trade relations with Russia, its refusal to isolate China, its opposition to Western sanctions regimes, and its vocal leadership within BRICS created a perception in Washington that South Africa was moving firmly into the non-Western camp. Under a conventional administration, these tensions might still have been managed through diplomacy. But Trump approaches foreign policy through a transactional lens. Loyalty is rewarded, and deviation is punished. In such a framework, South Africa's independent posture looks like betrayal. The turning point came when U.S. intelligence officials publicly raised concerns that Pretoria was facilitating dual-use commerce with sanctioned Russian entities. The South African government denied the allegations. Washington did not believe the denial. From a realist perspective, the facts matter less than the perception that a partner is drifting toward an adversary. Once trust collapses, punishment becomes the default tool. Trump's move to push for South Africa's removal from the G20 and to terminate all aid was, in effect, the culmination of a long process of alienation. It signaled that Washington no longer saw Pretoria as a useful partner within its orbit. It also reflected a broader shift in American strategy, a willingness to coerce middle powers that refuse to align, even if coercion risks driving them deeper into rival coalitions. The tragic consequence is that both states now operate with hardened assumptions. The United States believes South Africa has chosen the Chinese and Russian camp. South Africa believes the United States is attempting to discipline it for exercising sovereignty. These narratives reinforce each other, making strategic reconciliation increasingly unlikely. When I examine the decision to weaponize G20 membership against South Africa, I see a much deeper struggle unfolding beneath the surface. The G20 was never merely an economic forum. It was a geopolitical instrument created in the aftermath of crises to integrate emerging powers into a system still guided by American preferences. Washington believed that bringing major economies into a structured dialogue would stabilize the international order under U.S. leadership. But the rise of China, the assertiveness of Russia, and the growing cohesion of BRICS have gradually transformed the G20 from a cooperative platform into an arena of competing visions. In that sense, the decision to expel South Africa reflects the broader degeneration of global institutions as tools of great power management. From the beginning, the G20 functioned as an anchor of Western influence globalization. It was designed to prevent fragmentation and to ensure that states like South Africa operated within a system of norms beneficial to the United States and its partners. But once the balance of power began shifting, the internal dynamics of the institution changed. Countries such as China, India, Brazil, and South Africa used the G20 to challenge Western narratives on debt, trade, development financing, and sovereignty. They pushed for reforms that would dilute American influence over the IMF and World Bank. They called for greater fiscal space for developing economies and opposed the political conditions Washington traditionally attached to economic stabilization. As these debates intensified, Washington grew increasingly suspicious of the G20's trajectory. The forum that once reinforced U.S. leadership was becoming a stage for non-Western resistance. South Africa played a significant role in this shift by consistently promoting BRICS-aligned positions on multipolarity, de-dollarization, and institutional reform. It helped Beijing and Moscow reframe the G20 as a contested institution rather than a Western-led one. This is what alarmed American policymakers, especially under Trump, who views international forums through a transactional and hierarchical lens. For him, membership is not a right, but a privilege granted by the dominant power. The pressure to remove South Africa thus emerged from a logic of institutional retrenchment. The United States no longer sees the G20 as a neutral management tool. It sees it as contested terrain where rivals gain legitimacy. Excluding South Africa serves a dual purpose. First, it signals that Washington retains gatekeeping power. Second, it forces other middle powers to think carefully about how far they can drift from U.S. preferences before facing tangible consequences. This is coercion in its purest form, the use of institutional access as leverage, but this coercive approach rests on a flawed assumption that the G20 remains the central node of global economic governance. In reality, the institutional landscape is fragmenting. BRICS has expanded and now includes major players from the Middle East. China has built parallel structures through the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank and the Belt and Road Initiative. Even the G7 has begun to operate more like a strategic bloc than an economic steering group. The world is not rallying around a single institutional center. It is reorganizing into multiple spheres of influence. By attempting to punish South Africa through the G20, the United States risks accelerating this institutional fragmentation. Middle powers increasingly recognize that diversification, not alignment, provides the best hedge in a world of intensifying great power rivalry. The more Washington uses exclusion as a threat, the more incentive these states have to develop parallel structures where U.S. influence is limited. South Africa's potential removal from the G20 may therefore achieve the opposite of its intended effect. It will push Pretoria deeper into the orbit of China and Russia while weakening the very institutions Washington relies upon to stabilize its leadership. In this sense, the G20 is not simply a battleground. It is a symbol of an international order struggling to adapt to shifting power realities. Washington's coercive turn reflects fear, not confidence. And fear, when wed to declining leverage, rarely produces effective strategy. When I analyze America's long history of foreign aid, I see a pattern that is profoundly misunderstood by the very states that depend on it. Aid has never been a charitable enterprise. It has always been an instrument of influence, a method of shaping the political behavior of states whose choices matter for American strategic interests. That logic is as old as the Marshall Plan and as current as Washington's security assistance to Ukraine or Israel. In South Africa's case, the United States used aid to encourage governance reforms, strengthen public health systems, and support economic development. But behind every program lay an expectation Pretoria would not openly defy American preferences on major geopolitical questions. Once South Africa crossed that informal red line, aid ceased to be a stabilizing tool and instead became a lever of coercion. To understand why Trump moved so aggressively to cut assistance, one must recognize how deeply Washington believes in the utility of material leverage. Foreign aid, particularly in Africa, is viewed as a form of soft power that grants the United States access, influence, and credibility. South Africa was one of the largest recipients of PEPFAR funding, which dramatically expanded its ability to combat HIV/AIDS. It benefited from development assistance designed to support institutional capacity and economic restructuring. From the American perspective, such investments created a reasonable expectation of political alignment. Yet South Africa consistently used its diplomatic voice in ways that diverged from U.S. preferences, whether on Israel, Russia, China, or the broader question of global governance. That divergence was tolerated for years because Washington believed it could gradually nudge Pretoria toward a more Western-oriented posture. But over time, it became clear that these expectations were misplaced. When South Africa intensified its coordination with BRICS, deepened security engagement with Russia, and openly confronted Israel on the world stage, Washington perceived these moves as a repudiation of the implicit bargain that underpinned the aid relationship. Trump, in particular, sees such deviations not as expressions of sovereignty, but as signs of disloyalty. In his worldview, assistance is transactional. It must yield strategic alignment or be withdrawn. Cutting aid was therefore not simply punitive. It was meant to demonstrate to other middle powers that the United States will not subsidize states that align with its adversaries. But there is a deeper structural story. The United States is increasingly stretched, both financially and strategically. The foreign policy establishment is under pressure to prioritize competition with China, maintain commitments in Europe, and manage crises in the Middle East. In that environment, aid to states that refuse to cooperate becomes a tempting target for retrenchment. The perception that South Africa is drifting into an anti-Western camp, regardless of whether Pretoria sees itself that way, made it easier for Washington to justify a sharp withdrawal of support. Aid, once seen as a mechanism for partnership, became a symbol of wasted influence. Yet the American assumption that withdrawing assistance will force South Africa to reconsider its geopolitical choices is misguided. States rarely abandon deeply rooted strategic orientations simply because they lose access to external funding. What often happens instead is substitution. China steps in with investment. Russia expands defense relations. And the very behavior Washington seeks to curtail becomes more entrenched. By cutting aid, the United States may believe it is asserting discipline. But in practice, it is surrendering one of the few remaining sources of leverage it had over a country that now has multiple alternatives. In this sense, the end of Western patience is also the end of Western influence. The United States has chosen pressure at the precise moment when its ability to enforce discipline is diminishing. And when a great power overestimates its leverage, it risks accelerating the emergence of a world order increasingly indifferent to its demands. When great powers resort to coercion, they often assume that weaker states will relent under pressure. This belief has guided American strategy for decades. Washington used sanctions against Iran, North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela, and Russia with the expectation that economic pain would translate into political obedience. Yet, in nearly every case, these states adapted, diversified, and sought new partners, the United States repeatedly underestimated the resilience of political systems shaped by anti-Western narratives or alternative sources of support. The decision to punish South Africa rests on this same flawed premise that withdrawal of aid and exclusion from the G20 will force Pretoria to abandon its geopolitical orientation. But this assumption ignores the structural forces that drive South Africa's foreign policy and the broader shift toward multipolarity reshaping the global system. The first mistake in Washington's calculation is the belief that South Africa lacks alternatives. In reality, Pretoria has spent 2 decades cultivating deep ties with China, Russia, India, and other global South partners precisely to reduce dependence on Western systems. China is South Africa's largest trading partner, a major investor, and an increasingly important technological and security collaborator. Russia, though economically limited, offers political support, energy cooperation, and defense relationships that carry symbolic weight. India, Brazil, and the broader BRICS network provide diplomatic cover and an alternative framework for global engagement. Punishment from the United States does not isolate South Africa. It accelerates its integration into a parallel system that Washington cannot control. The second miscalculation lies in misunderstanding the nature of South Africa's political identity. Pretoria's foreign policy is not a product of opportunism. It is rooted in its liberation history and its role as a leader of the global South. South African policymakers view Western dominance with suspicion, seeing it as a continuation of hierarchical structures that disadvantage the developing world. When Washington attempts to discipline Pretoria, it reinforces the very narratives that drive South Africa away from the West. Coercion becomes evidence of imperial arrogance. Instead of producing compliance, it deepens resistance. The third error concerns Washington's declining global leverage. America's economic and institutional power remains substantial, but it is no longer overwhelming. The rise of China has created a powerful alternative economic engine. The expansion of BRICS has produced a growing bloc of states willing to challenge Western norms and provide diplomatic shelter to those targeted by U.S. pressure. And the global perception of American foreign policy has changed dramatically after years of intervention, sanctions, and inconsistent commitments. Punishing South Africa in this environment is far less effective than it would have been 20 or 30 years ago. The world has moved on. Washington has not. The final strategic miscalculation is the failure to recognize how punitive measures reshape a state's long-term orientation. When a country is punished, it responds not simply by seeking short-term relief, but by restructuring its alliances to ensure future security. South Africa will almost certainly expand defense cooperation with Russia and China, increase participation in BRICS financial mechanisms, and explore alternatives to Western trade and currency systems. These are not temporary adjustments. They are structural shifts that reduce American influence irreversibly. In trying to coerce Pretoria, Washington may be triggering precisely the outcome. It fears the consolidation of a non-Western strategic bloc with growing legitimacy and institutional depth. This is the tragedy of American statecraft in the 21st century. The United States as though operating in a unipolar world. Coercion without overwhelming leverage produces backlash. not obedience. South Africa is not simply resisting, it is repositioning itself in an international environment that offers multiple punishment will therefore not bring it closer to the United States. It will drive it further away, and in doing so, it will contribute to the very decline Washington is desperate to arrest. When I examine the international system today, it becomes unmistakably clear is that we are witnessing the reemergence of bloc politics in a form the United States never anticipated. Washington believed the post-Cold War world would be defined by a single liberal order under its guidance. But power abhors a vacuum, and states never remain passive in the face of hierarchy. As America's relative dominance declined, alternative centers of gravity emerged, and they began constructing networks, institutions, and partnerships that operate independently of Western control. The BRICS expansion, what many now call BRICS Plus, is the most visible manifestation of this tectonic shift. It reflects a world growing more multipolar, where middle and regional powers seek autonomy from Western pressure and increasingly define their interests through non-Western frameworks. South Africa sits at the heart of this realignment. It is not the most powerful economy in BRICS, nor the most influential diplomatically, but its symbolic role as a gateway between Africa and the global South gives it proportionate importance. When South Africa aligns with China, Russia, and the expanding BRICS network, it signals to many developing countries that there are viable alternatives to Western institutions. For decades, the United States assumed that global governance would flow through bodies like the G7, the IMF, the World Bank, and NATO-aligned partnerships. Today, however, states are diversifying their institutional portfolios. They join BRICS for financial autonomy, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization for Security Cooperation, and the Belt and Road networks for infrastructure, thereby reducing their vulnerability to U.S. coercion. This shift has profound implications. The more states integrate into non-Western systems, the less effective American pressure becomes. In the past, Washington could threaten exclusion from Western markets or institutions, and states would adjust their policies accordingly. But BRICS Plus now includes major energy producers, rising regional powers, and states seeking alternatives to the dollar-dominated financial system. These states reject the argument that American leadership is necessary for global stability. They see U.S. coercion not as a stabilizing force, but as a mechanism of dominance. As these perceptions spread, the legitimacy of American primacy erodes, and the world less responsive to Western demands. The United States misreads BRICS Plus when it treats it as a loose economic club. It is evolving into a political and strategic coalition precisely because U.S. pressure pushes its members closer together. The war in Ukraine accelerated this process, as many states refused to align with American sanctions or adopt the Western narrative. The Gaza crisis intensified it further, exposing deep fractures between Western powers and the global South. When South Africa took Israel to the International Court of Justice, it became a rallying point for states that felt marginalized by Western diplomacy. That act was not simply legal, it was geopolitical. It signaled a willingness to confront Western preferences directly, something unthinkable for many states even a decade ago. As bloc politics intensify, the United States finds itself confronting a world order. It no longer fully shapes. Washington still wields substantial power, but it faces an environment where alternatives exist and where its rivals are building institutional architectures designed to weaken the very leverage the United States once relied upon. South Africa's orientation toward BRICS Plus is not an anomaly. It is a harbinger of what many other states may choose as American influence continues to wane. This is the central irony by punishing South Africa. The United States inadvertently strengthens the appeal of BRICS Plus and accelerates the transition to multipolarity. Coercion pushes states into counterbalancing coalitions. Pressure encourages institutional diversification, and attempts to discipline rising or defiant states simply reinforce the global perception that U.S. leadership is neither equitable nor sustainable. In this environment, American influence erodes not through defeat, but through the steady withdrawal of trust. When I reflect on Washington's decision to punish South Africa, its attempt to exclude Pretoria from the G20 and to sever all aid, I see more than a diplomatic dispute. I see a deeper strategic pattern that has defined American behavior in the post-Cold War era. It is the belief that power can be exercised without restraint, that coercion can substitute for understanding, and that pressure will always produce compliance. This mindset worked when the United States enjoyed overwhelming dominance. It no longer works in a world where power is dispersing. Institutions are fragmenting, and alternative poles of influence are emerging at a pace that Washington never anticipated. The South Africa case is a microcosm of a far larger problem, the erosion of strategic realism in American foreign policy. For decades, Washington convinced itself that values, norms, and moral narratives could override the hard facts of geopolitics. It is believed that the liberal international order was natural, stable, and self-reinforcing, but orders rest on power, not sentiment. Once the distribution of power shifts, the order built upon it begins to crack. The United States, however, clung to the illusion that its primacy was permanent and that any state stepping outside its orbit could be forced back through sanctions, pressure, or institutional exclusion. This belief has produced one failure after another. The sanctions imposed on Russia after 2014 were meant to coerce Moscow into reversing course in Ukraine. Instead, Russia adapted, diversified its economy, strengthened ties with China, and expanded its influence across the global south. The pressure campaign against Iran entrenched the very behavior Washington sought to suppress. The decades-long embargo on Cuba accomplished nothing except the alienation of Latin American states, and attempts to isolate China economically only accelerated Beijing's drive for technological self-sufficiency. The South Africa episode fits squarely within this pattern. It is another instance of American policymakers assuming that coercion will reshape political orientation, despite mounting evidence that this assumption is misguided. The fundamental problem is one of perception. The United States still imagines itself as the indispensable center of global politics, but states like South Africa do not share that view. They see a world becoming more pluralistic, with multiple sources of economic power, diplomatic, and institutional support. They see China's rise not as an aberration, but as a structural transformation of the global system. They see BRICS Plus as a viable alternative framework that allows them to pursue autonomy without fear of Western retaliation. In this environment, American pressure does not impose discipline, it encourages hedging. It signals that the United States is an unreliable partner, driven by ideology and impatience rather than strategic calculation. The tragedy is that Washington is accelerating the very forces undermining its position. When the United States resorts to coercion without understanding the motivations of other states, it alienates potential partners and drives them toward rival coalitions. Punishing South Africa will not weaken BRICS, it will strengthen it. Excluding Pretoria from the G20 will not reinforce American influence. It will weaken the legitimacy of Western institutions. Cutting aid will not force alignment. It will create space for China to expand its footprint. In trying to enforce loyalty, the United States is teaching the world that autonomy requires seeking shelter outside the Western orbit. The broader lesson is clear. Great powers decline, not only because their material capabilities erode, but because they misread their environment. They cling to outdated assumptions. They rely on instruments of power that no longer work. They mistake defiance for disloyalty and pressure for strategy. The United States today is not collapsing. It remains formidable. But it is making the classic error of a hegemon in transition. It is fighting the world it remembers, not the world that exists. South Africa's defiance is not the cause of American decline. It is a symptom of a deeper structural transformation that Washington refuses to accept. The international system is moving toward multipolarity, and in such a world, coercion without understanding is a recipe for strategic failure. Realism demands restraint, adaptation, and a sober acceptance of limits. When a great power ignores these principles, it sets itself on a path where influence dissolves not through defeat, but through its own illusions about power. This ultimately is the lesson the South Africa episode reveals. Power remains essential. Without a realistic appreciation of others perceive their interests, it becomes a blunt instrument that accelerates decline.
At least there's a consensus now. So it can only
Well, it only says that South Africans are united, talking about the elite, have unity of purpose. Collectively, they are saying we cannot go the same way anymore. Things have to change. And for things to change, we need a new way of doing things. We need new patterns. And they are ready to them what the consequences. So the story is still unfolding. What will become South Africa after this whole shenanigans of the world powers? Is it going to exist, forge ahead as a powerful nation, more prosperous than it is now? Or they are turning with power that will likely set them back another decades? But whichever way is on, no going back from here. And that's where our elites come in handy. They are so divided within themselves that a segment of them are a segment of them are ready to go with the West, the same way of doing shit. Why Some are linked towards the South, the new fine bribe led by China. So as we go, I talked before, this decade, Nigeria will not come out the same. But the South Africans are more united and they are ready to go in one accord. Protest, now protest we talk in UK. Was it that they protest? Now, who's in a Nigerian man with this? Name be Jar Jones, if I'm not mistaken. Which are the protest? Protest in UK. Oh. Over what? This one 4 days ago. Now Croatia. Everybody rally. Protest against far right rights. Germany. Europe. 50,000 protesters clash with police over AFD event. Nice. Party. So, I don't know. The protest in Dublin or UK. UK protesters square up at Indian food stall amidst anti-immigrant rally. That's their problem. With the protest on Nabaseki to return to Edo State for loot. And the guy just surprised me. The guy is moving from one cafe to another. They know they shame self. Why be say all this meet and greet na like say na me they come UK. No, me I know to put myself. If the damage go UK tour, he go got more audience, more packaging pass Obaseki, the whole governor. So all the people who serve under his administration that live in UK, all the money where they steal, they no fit use our packaging, man. Eh? Najama, shame on you people. Well, I will allow ex-governor they walk out from one cafe to another. Like an illegal immigrant. It's all right. When Nigeria won't go start, there's no protest in Nigeria now. Next year there will be census. There will be no protest now. Who won't protest? Everybody is busy. They don't plan for election already. They go begin harass people now to come out and go take a voters card. As soon as Obi declare his routes, his political routes. As soon as Obi say this is the route I'm taking, they'll finish. They go begin harass people. All the diaspora go begin harass their village people. If you don't for support Obi, I will not send you money. I will not do this. I will not do more than suck. So I don't know. Many stable. I think this so you don't get like 2,000 delegates. the wait where his number one candidate, Peter Obi, go. Make he unleash his men. So South Africa is in a good part. Is fighting for freedom in a way that if they succeed, if South Africa succeeds, the warrant of United States, you don't finish with that, they will be the leader of the black race, which would be a shame to Nigeria. Nigerians are still busy fighting within themselves how to share power turn by turn. Now they see they fight themselves for turn by turn. They never make up their mind to see how to get out of the grips of those people who are taking advantage of the division. So, movie. Medugu leads and I follow. Medugu, where Medugu did now? The fighter say no guys, say NNPP, they won't connect that for you. That be na Medugu have to work for. When I work for obedient now. If I be Kwankwaso now, what I go do with that? Give obedient the platform. Let them run their course. This 2027. 2031, you say automatically. If now maybe if I'm a presidential hopeful from the north at this moment, I want Obi to be on my side. Whether I will support them, whatever, so that I will be the beneficiary of the obedience if the turn by turn go stand. I don't believe it will stand. I believe it will crash. Medugu should come to obedience side. I know it's a tough move. Going to APC is not tougher. I know Siam. His routes in PDP is very, very slim. Not that it's not possible. All right, let's hear presidency. What's your problem with Obasanjo? They say they will never forget Obi for inviting outsiders to come and invade us. Let's see what they will tell Obasanjo. Terrorists first began organizing under your watch. God, these Yoruba people don't get respect for their elders. Minister, you see these people, they don't have respect for their elders. Talking there, they don't have respect. Why how can they be talking to Baba like that? Baba said no one come up for stage. Baba said should step down. Or maybe why Obasanjo still getting clouds? Why? Is it the failure of those who wants to overthrow the class of 69? I think I would say so. Because I don't know why Obasanjo will see the relevant by this time. But don't block the guy out. But for him to stay relevant, as far as I'm concerned, is the only man standing there that still keep Obi relevant. So presidency on Sunday declared that part of the failure of the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo are responsible for the current challenge of insecurity facing Nigeria. Blame go plenty. There's every blame to go around. Blame. Minister himself is part of the problem. Every one of us, there's plenty blame to share. Everybody will get Oladipo You say, how did terrorism begin under Obasanjo? It actually began under Obasanjo. Because now the way Obasanjo administration handled Boko Haram at that initial stage that escalate the whole issue to this point. That is the beginning. That is the genesis. Obasanjo approach to solve the Boko Haram insurgents problem was a military style. The guy went hard on them, killed a lot of them, killed their leader. And those guys decided to say, you know what, fuck it. If that is it, we're going in. So, and when you have a country that is so fragile, of course, you either see one or two persons that will say, you know what, I see your pain and will support that pain because of his own selfish interest. Maybe he's angry with the government, but always on the other. So we'll find allegiance with that. And that's exactly what happened. So Oladipo, that's the genesis that the presidency is talking about. I want to believe. So according to presidency, recent comments by former president and a few habitual presidential aspirants now will be that they talk. Attempts to pet the Tinubu administration as unable to protect Nigerians are not merely hypocritical but ignoble. They ignore the hard truth. Nigeria is facing terrorists, all of them, by every definition, be that international, regional, or local. Yes, the very individuals who looked away when this threat first sprouted now want it in judgments. Nigerians know better. The suggestion that Nigerians should effectively subcontract internal security to foreign government is not statesmanship, it is capitulation. Before recommending surrender, the former president should reflect on what he failed to do when the terrorists first began organizing under his watch. I think I'm spot on. You say where terrorists attack under Obasanjo, that's the point they are trying to make. And not because of Obasanjo approach, now they make them begin attack. Now because I'm not making case for them. This is the story that they are painting. That now when Obasanjo regime descend or they kill them, anyhow, that's why they decide to start killing. That's their own story. They say one, Nigeria is under attack by terrorists. Full stop. No equipment, no euphemism, no safe language. The people killing Nigeria, raiding villages, kidnapping innocent, blowing up infrastructure, and challenging state authority are terrorists, whether they fly a foreign flag or none at all. International designated terror organization, ISIS link and Al-Qaeda linked franchises across the Sahel. Local vigilance extremist group masquerading as bandits. Cross-border terrorist cell exploiting porous frontiers. Ideological insurgents and criminal terror hybrid operation is ungoverned. And that's the problem. So all these four, these are different people that deserve different approach, but they jam them together as what terrorists, right? Yes, let's say they all have the elements, the nuances of how they operate in terrorist styles in them, but you cannot solve the problem as the same. This local violent extremist group masquerading as bandits, if you classify them as already, you're not going to take them out. How? That means anybody will kidnap person for Onitsha or Lagos is a terrorist. Even if you want to classify him like that, the easiest way, you cannot take him out like that. So you have to actually, this is a government failure. When we have local violence, it's as the result of government policy failure. Period. there's no way of classifying it as a terrorist syndicate. Cross-border terrorist cell exploiting porous frontier. The borders are bad. Again, those are government policy failure. Those are leadership failure. These actors collaborate. They share money, ideology, weapon, intelligence, and logistics. Their goal is the same. Na lie. Na lie. The Fulani herdsmen and farmer header clash. Their goal and that of ideologic extremists. Now this is different. The Fulani header and farmer clash are fighting because of encroachment of what population development, if you want to put it. Climate change movie here and there is also part of the, so they are different. You cannot use the same approach you are using towards Boko Haram to those kind of people. It's not going to work, and that's what Gumi was trying to say, or is saying all along. But for the fact that the media jam all of them together as terrorists, it blur what Gumi is trying to say out. It blur the pledge of the farmers and the herders out of the equation. He jammed them with those foreign terrorists who are approaching from neighboring countries. He jammed them with the people who have ideologically fanatics. There's no way solution can come. Rather, just giving excuses for the whole terrorist syndicate to keep flourishing. For those who are benefiting to keep making money, the military chiefs are enriching themselves. The politicians in Abuja are living fat because we are making excuses for them. But at the same time, the foreign people who are interested in whatever their own interests are also flourishing. Weapons are being sold. We don't produce weapons, so we are not the one even benefit selling the weapon. So however way you want to look at, Obasanjo cannot exhume himself. Answer, where did they attack under Obasanjo? I don't understand. Which can bring you get safe? Which can bring you get? Yes, they no attack anywhere, but the beginning is during his administration. If I dey plan evil now, and the evil started to manifest in 20 years time, does that take out this period out of the equation? I don't know how people they reason like this. But the government of Obasanjo attacked them. If you are looking for attack, before, if they watch football, before referee blow whistle, they see when the opponent leg got broken, they don't break the leg first before they go blow whistle. The intent alone makes you required to take action. To notice an intent, you have to take action. That's what Obasanjo administration did, right? They overdo it. That's what we are talking about. Yes, they did not attack anywhere, but the Nigerian government attacked them. Obasanjo left power in 2017. Okay. Okay. When Boko Haram starts? Obasanjo, when did Boko Haram start? Two 2002, 9 Boko Haram starts. 2002. Was president from 1999. 2002 is in 2000 and is in between 1999 and 2007. So you can disagree with their excuse. You can frame it that they are making for their incompetence. I agree, but you cannot assume Obasanjo. You cannot take Obasanjo out of the problem. He is the foundation of the problem. Okay. It's not making excuses for the party of this party for their incompetency. That's not the point. But we should not also reduce the conversation to this person fail, this person fail. No, we have to break it down to the first principle. We have to break it down to what is the beginning, why this thing starts, why are we here where we are. That's the only way we can address the issue. So calling them what they are, the terrorists, is not there. That's disingenuous. So terrorism took roots in his watch and grew because it was not stopped. So that's the point they are trying to make. It is historical. It is historical fact that the ideological foundation and early cell of Boko Haram were incubated during Obasanjo's civilian presidency. While they recruited, indoctrinated, built camps, and floated authorities, the state failed to act decisively. What began as a preventable extremist sect transformed into a violent insurgence, a cross-border terrorist franchise, a regional emir along global jihadist movement. Now, this is where I disagree with the totality of what they are saying, right? It is not the Boko Haram that, yes, now people become other people decide to take into violence insurgency based on their reason, but it was easy for them to float whatever they are doing under Boko Haram because that is what the media wants. Starting in Medogri in 2023. So thank you, Jajon. So you said Obasanjo killed their lead man, nigga. Where I see which year? Which year Obasanjo? Which year their leader? Now, now our problem with that. Okay, we see instead of fall to the root and uproot it, because going that deep will affect us. We'll say no, let's cut it from the head. It had just been established. Boko Haram started in 2002-3. You say, oh, because their leader was killed. Oh, you, of course. You said, I said Obasanjo. Yes, I said Obasanjo attacked them, kill a lot of them, kill their leader. I said that, right? Oh, I was wrong. They killed their leader, but I wasn't wrong that Obasanjo nursed the birth of Boko Haram, which is the most important thing. So Obasanjo wrote a book, and that book was called Under My Watch. That is the title of Obasanjo's book, Under His Watch. So Boko Haram was also part of those activities that started and take shape under his watch. Yes, he no kill any of their leaders, but it is due to his policy and failure of his governance that bettered Boko Haram. That's the point. So to put an end to Boko Haram, we have to go all the way back. Which is this boils to the point I've been trying to make. We always want to, there's an excuse to go around on anything, but that's not the point. The days of making an excuse are over. The problem is still there. So what pa, 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 pa. Where we will go again? We could vote land belonging. So no. I just distraction. Governor Oti visit IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu in prison. Campaign don't start. It's crazy. So let's see what is the visit about. The Abia State Governor Alex Oti on Sunday paid a prison visit to the convicted leaders of the prescribed indigenous people of Biafra IPOB Nnamdi Kanu. In his post, Ejimakor showed praise on the governor for keeping to his pledge. Right. Thank you for fulfilling the promise you made to me to visit here. May God bless you. Don't finish. Now this lawyer now then go the hammer. Then go the hammer. The hammer. This is the first person to tap into that. Tap into that. I don't understand. Every person question why Boko Haram suspect 20 years. And the first guy to tap into that be that smart. He's a politician that look forward to the future. He knows what he was doing when he come out like that. The timing, the place, everything was on point. So he's ready for any challenger. That's what it means. That's the first song. That I'm here to topple my father's legacy, if there's any. Sheriff, who used them for political gain and appointed their leader as a commissioner, is a friend of the president today. I don't even know. I don't know. I thought I say if we are looking for excuses, there's so many. I don't even know why you keep staying on that. The most important thing, Boko Haram are here and doing damage. Boko are the point fingers. That's why I actually read that part out, because I started by saying the Yoruba people they deceive that they don't get respect for themselves. So there's a reason I started the way I started. Because now blame. There again, the title of my today show is what? It's the danger of a single side story, right? And what the cause is. The cause is the cause of that is directly linked to our inability to organize, right? And that's exactly what you are saying. Boko Haram is here. We are looking for where who to blame. That's what they want us to talk about. That's why all you are looking for individuals that are obvious, right? Kano will be pardoned by next year, October 2025. I will not be surprised. It will be a good move for the president. So I won't be surprised. That would be a good, because October next year, I will be what? 4 or 5 months. I'll be 6 months to election, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that would be a good move. But I don't know why. I never. It's not yet clear to me the whole point. What did anyone use and achieve? I can't blame APC for Boko Haram. I blame the Nigerian elite from 1999 to today. I blame all of them if I want to blame anything, but that's not the point. So it's not APC. APC na PDP. APC no come from anywhere. APC is a product of PDP. All party pretty much is a product of PDP. If we want to go by party blaming, PDP, APC is simply combination of all of them. So now if we go that route, we are shortchanging ourselves. So Tinubu pardoning Nnamdi Kanu in October. Why? What do you think is the gain? What's the point? What's the point? What do you want to try again? Who you want to appease? The North will not be happy for sure. The South will, but I don't think that will change anything in terms of the votes that will come out of the Southeast towards him or against him. But it will have a ripple effect from the northern angle. So Ladipo, what's the logic behind releasing him next year? Even I'm the Kanu, then free and ain't can run for politics. If you gonna contest for election, how many votes you will get? Oladipo, what's the logic of you picking that date? This ambassadorial list, this not better.
We begin at the State House, where President Bola Tinubu has forwarded the names of 32 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate for confirmation, following an earlier submission of 3 nominees. The list includes 15 career ambassadors and 17 non-career ambassadors, with 4 women on the career list and 6 on the non-career list. Notable non-career nominees include former presidential aide to Jonathan Reno Omokri, former INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakubu, former governors Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi and Victor Okezie Ikpeazu, former ministers and ex-first ladies. Career ambassador nominees include Enebichi Monica Okuchukwu, Musa Okezie Ikpeazu, former ministers. Ambassadors, with 4 women on the career list and 6 on the non-career list. Notable non-career nominees include former presidential aide to Jonathan Reno Omokri, former INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakubu.
Let's look at this from. Let's look at Barrister Ogbonnaya, that guy, former minister son. Reno work hard. I will give it to him. I don't have any. He has worked, so you deserve it. He has shown that he's a ride or die for what the government believes. So Tinubu think he will achieve something on it, but nothing to gain for him. Yeah, but I see that. But what is it? What is that thing that he wants to achieve? Maybe as time goes, or when it happens, it will be clear to us. So I think Reno deserve Reno deserve it. He worked hard. He worked hard. La Boala, I don't know why. What Boala do? Boala don't make the short list. You say because everything about Tinubu is politics, of course. That's life. At that life now, that's at that stage. That's how you move you move with calculated interest in mind. He's looking for a bulk vote from South, and the Southeast people won't vote for him. Yeah, I mean, even if he release Nnamdi Kanu, I don't think they will vote for him unless Obi is not contesting, which I 100% believe he will. A question that, but we'll see. So Reno deserve it. Reno work hard for that. Former chairman of the independent. That one I piss people off fast. But the man deserve it too now. You boy, Yakubu deserve him. Former Ekiti first lady, Illuminate, all these people, Shana, just them. They just irritate themselves. All these people with the former Enugu governor, Ifeanyi. Enugu, what's happen now? Well, Bola Tinubu, na so Bola Tinubu strong reach. I've been a wicked doing with that.
Former governors Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi and Victor Okezie Ikpeazu, former ministers lady.
You say, how did Reno deserve? How did Reno deserve ambassador by dancing Kerewa Tinubu? Yes, he's having a guy way now. This guy. No be Nigeria appointed now. No be Tinubu appointed. It was working for Tinubu, so he did well. That's what I mean. He worked for the party. It's true. When I mean he would deserve him, that's exactly what I mean. He was working. That's his job. His job is to distract people as many as he can. That is his job. That's why his job is to constantly go after Obi. And he was successful like that because he constantly get Obedience attention. So that's his job. And he did it very well. So he deserved it. He deserved it. He deserved it. Now work the chop. Oh, my brother. Who other person again that I know that Feni Kayode, FFK. I don't know. I was surprised from so I don't know, but well, it wasn't an anybody who's electable know they go collect ambassadorial position. Because ambassadorial position is to send you away from the scene where the thing they happen, where the deals they happen. I mean the country, they can't send you out of there. So ambassadorial people who are electable, no, they accept ambassador unless at their earlier stage. So I'm not surprised if FFK go that route because he no go fit win any election. So the same thing with Reno. I don't know. I don't think Reno have the war machine to win any election from his states. So taking the position of to get out of the country, that's it's a no-brainer.
Career ambassador nominees include Enebichi Monica Okuchukwu, Musa Abubakar, and Yvonne Innocent Oduma, among others.
Wait till you talk, Oladipo. Say it will be a joke apart. It's a joke apart. Who conducted the 2023 election? This shows Mamadou rigged the election for Tinubu and he got compensation. That no be conspiracy again now. What you are saying are fact. So of course, any person will walk where I did the reward now. Yes. So he got it, yeah. You are spot on. Did what he was put there to do. We they forget all those positions. You know go engineer person will go work against you. Yeah. So yeah, and because they won, he helped rig the election. That's why I got what they want, right? Because the whole country disagree with the outcome of the election, literally, in terms of the conduct and everything. So why should he be rewarded? If not the fact that the man who won the job got exactly what he bargained for. Another former governor again, Abia, Victor Okpeji, he knows he no go fit win election again. Cannot win any position, so he has to go that route. Again, John, even if Tinubu stay till 2031, Nigeria will never forget its uncoordinated and incompleted government. Yeah, that one our problem to worry about. But for him, don't do what he's supposed to. Just like we never forget 2023, 2003 and 2007, how they take the election. So Okpeze, no figure elected again. It's not electable. That's why I go. Now this guy I know that now Senator Jimo Ibrahim is a current senator. I don't understand why in the ambassadorial position. I don't get it. How does that work? Somebody tell me, I beg. Jimo Ibrahim, I think he's a current serving senator. Senator. So why they can't give an ambassador again? So I don't know. That's the part I don't get. It be like say they don't submit him for UK ministers and already like last week. Will be Americans and UK and there are 3 countries that already. If they give America, I'm not be surprised because the guy now Harvard products. Now America is very much. Yeah, they don't nominate. They nominate. Tinubu first nominated ministerial ambassador from Oyo, one ambassador Oyedele Oke Oyo, ambassador Amin Mohammed Dahatu Jigawa, and retired Colonel Latif Kayode Are Ogun State. All 3 are in the pod for the posts of the UK, USA, and France. Yep. So they don't give those positions out already. I mean, it's a 7 Senate one. We go live in constituency, go sit down for any record and go, or what's it? Somebody should explain to me. Oh, those 3 names are career ambassadors. Okay. You sure? I'm not sure. You sure saying the same person. Okay, yeah. So it's going to be the U.S. non-career ambassador. Is that what you are saying? Or Ghana, my own question said be that too. Ambassador, it doesn't how to. Well, for America, say yes, a serving senator can be an ambassador, but they must resign their Senate seat before the ambassadorship can be confirmed by the Senate. The U.S. Constitution. So that's not U.S. For Nigeria, I don't know. So that's a very yes, a serving senator can be appointed as an ambassador in Nigeria, as demonstrated by a recent appointment of serving senators such as Senator Jimo Ibrahim to ambassadorship. The president of Nigeria make these appointments, and while serving as a senator can pass to an ambassadorship. It is not automatically guaranteed, and it is subjected to presidential nomination and senator confirmation according to the information. So I don't understand. Is it that now me that's why I know too now. I understand that is a downgraded position. So I just don't see the that's why I'm kind of like surprised. What is the logic behind it? There must be a reason why they are doing it. We don't know yet. We'll find out. I know this now my point exactly that they don't nominate US already, but they argue say that they might get one the career one as. But we'll see as time goes on. We normally get US non-career ambassador with a senior consular. But that this senator accepting to be an ambassador is what I don't get. Can those are two distinct positions. For a politician, you want to be a senator rather than to be an ambassador, unless something is on the pipeline, something on this. There's something that they are not telling us. So I don't know. It will be interesting to find out. So congratulations to Reno. That is what he wanted. So if like somebody don't give her the hint, say come, this is the route you want to take if you want to be among if you want to join the team. And the guy went hard. He went hard.
Confirmed nominees are respected.
He put everything online. Make sure he get noticed. So for that reason, and I can't hate. I can't hate. I can't hate. Uh, Venezuela.
Venezuela accuses Washington of colonialism after President Donald Trump said he's shutting down its airspace. The country's on high alert after US attacks on boats nearby and a huge military and naval buildup. Trump says he's fighting drugs trafficking, but is that the real reason? This is Inside Story. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Bernard Smith. Tension between Venezuela and the US ramped up another few notches after President Donald Trump declared the country's airspace closed. It follows US attacks on small boats and a huge military and naval buildup in the region. Trump says he's targeting narcotics trafficking, claiming...
Now, so they want to quantify Christian genocide. From senator to ambassadorship, not that great, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what you talk about. To be a senator, not elect, they elected you, not power you get to. Nobody feel about you, even the president doesn't have the power to remove you as a senator. So it's like you buying something and you renting something. It's different. Even if they're given US, given Britain, given the whole world journal making be ambassador, still cannot be compared to an elected official. If the guy they leave senatorial position, they go ambassador. There's something that we don't know. Either there's something coming. There's something I don't know. There's something they are hiding. Maybe by his person that they won't come out as it. There's something that is that doesn't add up. He's a very vocal senator. So nobody saying that any other senator in B. He's very vocal. He's very outspoken. So those people where they say that they can't fight Christian genocide, pay attention. Now drugs they won't go fight for Venezuela, but they want the whole regime to be gone.
President Nicolas Maduro heads a huge drugs cartel. Maduro strongly denies that. He accuses the US of colonial Latin America. So, is Trump really targeting narcotics gangs, or is this about regime change? And is the US returning to a policy of interventionism in Latin America? We'll speak to our guests shortly, but first, this report from Imogen Kimber.
US President Donald Trump declares the Venezuelan embargo. Some flights continue, ignoring Trump's assertion that he controls the skies over the country. It's part of what Trump says is a battle against drug trafficking from Venezuela, run by the government, which it denies.
In recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are many. Of course, there aren't too many coming in by sea anymore, have you probably noticed that? From sending their poisons into the United States, where they kill hundreds of thousands of people a year.
Trump has been bombing boats his administration accuses of carrying drugs near the Venezuelan coast. The UN describes the strikes as extrajudicial killings. Recent weeks have seen the largest deployment of US forces in the Caribbean in decades. More than 15,000 American soldiers, fighter jets, a Navy destroyer with guided missiles, and the US Navy's largest aircraft carrier are deployed in the region. Trump's administration has also labelled the Venezuelan president a terrorist drug trafficker, which is strongly rejected by Maduro's government. Caracas says Trump's hostility is a colonialist threat, seeking to undermine Venezuela and territorial integrity. It's been readying air defences and increasing army enlistment. At an Air Force display on Saturday, President Maduro addressed the nation.
Alertas, listos. Be alert, ready, and willing to defend our rights as a nation, as a free and sovereign homeland, And I know that you will never fail Venezuela. If history demands that we declare ourselves a republic in arms, history will once again see us rise up.
Allah for daddy body, double Allah for
Rights
daddy
observers say
body.
Trump's manoeuvres are not about drugs, but could be about regime change and Venezuela's oil reserves. The US has imposed wide
Double Allah for daddy body. So, Oga, when I see the fight, I know, and when I see that, you see they argue. Madipo says Ambassador Gelb for Senator. Is that what you are saying? There's no comparison now, sure. Just check out what you buy and what you iron at the same. As a senator, you are elected just like the president at the same right when I get. Ambassador Napu, they put you there, they will take you out. Just if you mess and the mess no smell as they want them. Police, tell your audience that U.S. ambassador has already been nominated. I talk him now. Tell him say 3 people were nominated. I will call their name. They have nominated for UK, US, and France. So he knows, but I don't know why. I think he's also shocked that Senate of that person can of that caliber can also won't play 2 roles. We see.
spread sanctions on Venezuela over the past 20 years. From the time leftist Hugo Chavez was in power from 1999 to 2013, forming alliances with Russia and China. Western allies have continued with sanctions on his successor Maduro and officials, accusing him of electoral fraud to stay in power and human rights abuses. The US offers a $25 million bounty for Maduro's arrest. President Trump now says his next area of focus is drug traffickers crossing by land, adding to fears in Venezuela that a possible invasion could be imminent. Imogen Kimber, Al Jazeera for Inside Story.
Guns.
Okay, let's bring in our guests. In Washington, D.C. is Mark Feffley, Republican strategist and a former White House Deputy National Security Advisor. In Merida, Venezuela is Paul Dobson, an independent journalist and political analyst. And in London, Christopher Sabatini, Senior Research Fellow for Latin America at Chatham House. A warm welcome to you all. Christopher, with you first of all, what do you think is really going on here?
What's really going on here is that Trump is trying to pursue a strategy of regime change, as you indicated. That's not necessarily a bad thing. How he's going about it could be very, very risky. But the truth is,
you they see how I like these people, how they paint, how media till they work, right? Now, Christopher Sebastian, a senior research fellow for Latin America, Chatham House, founder of Global American Inc. The guy is not saying, he's saying it loudly. Changing regime, taking out the guy, not be bad thing, but how they want to do and be the problem. Imagine, you want to come out another country president. It's a done deal. Both sides have agreed that the guy has to go, but how they will take come out and be the problem. That is what they came to argue about. Imagine.
is that most of the cocaine that reaches the United States does not come from Venezuela. In fact, only between 5 to 10% of the cocaine.
Those one where they talk say they all come find Christians, you know that they are coming up. They are already ESF, according to news. U.S. spy plane conduct preliminary investigation over Borno. They know they come already. They will come. They are here. Ladipo just Grisha say, Oga, can you put your money, please? Put your money where Say they no go carry the guy go there. All these people around the view now. Me, that's not even my own concern. My curiosity is that why will he, a sitting senator, be nominated for as an ambassador? I'm not saying anybody is against the law, no, but I just want to know why. The real reason, no be story they'll contact me later. That's not a doesn't make any sense. It make no sense. So we'll go join Chima later now, Abi. Chima has 15 minutes. Chime for Dr. Dameji. Mm? We got the round up so that we'll go Chima side. Dr. Dameji, go make noise. It has its own little value too for the noise making. Chima one host. All of them they wear suits. Now my problem with them, how they trust them. Make I have before I go. Everybody wear suit like this. Run. Is it they want to talk about? Is what happened? What do people think about ransom payment? Bandits by government, even though it's been denied by. There's a story around Gumi. There's a Gumi they fight for his people. It's different from Boko Haram or Islamic State. So that's why even the authorities have no if you do anything. So then the second thing we want to talk about, I've been trying for support. You say, of course, the news that someone asked the military to withdraw force in KB. I don't know why they see we like a unnecessary argument. We'll go make noise. I want to know why. You don't go know if you know what can you do. You know nothing. Should be 7 p.m. Nigerian time. What is the time now? This should be 6:45. Less than 45 minutes time. That is a propaganda session. Now you they talk about are you not part of it too? Are you not part of the section? Why? All of us are part of the propaganda machine. Now echo chamber. So when they go make the same noise we make yesterday, now they go continue. Why they support terrorism and who's the main military step aside? If they tell you what you want to do. That's the danger of the single style story that I'm talking about. We must know who the person. We must know the person. That's not the point. The whole institution should be indicted. Not be the person. It is because the whole military institution is not going to be indicted. That's why they're not going to find the person. Make me say American soldier fuck up for Afghanistan, for Nigeria, for any part of the world, say they misbehave. Now the whole military they go first put on blast before you know they'll give the person up. So they ask, we want to know how the people that. Of course, the news that someone asked the military to withdraw in KB without the bandit struck. Yeah, someone asked. So what's the point? It's not somebody that asks. It's coming from an institution, an institutional hierarchy. When that soldier boy they stand up, they one fight wiki. How long did it take Nigerians to know who the Oga they represent, who the boy they represent? Again, they want us to focus on just nonsense. Gumi the supporting terrorists, and who's fighting there? Who said the battle should come? Now, we they argue back. They won't argue again with that. But that's exactly what the elite want us to argue on. Gumi is fighting for Eda's farmers clash. You can disagree with her in the Duam, and you disagree with Gumi because of the other narrative that was meshed together. The Islamists who are doing their own thing, and the Boko Haram who are doing their own thing. So they jam everything together to be terrorism. So that's now overshadow waiting Gumi they try talk. Because honestly, they have Fulanis and they have farmers who are coexisting for years. Nobody will deny that one. Now, the story of their clash, is it real? Yes. Now, how big is that clash? That is lost in what? In the name of terrorism, in the name of Boko Haram. And that is because it is the failure of the government. If two people they fight, two farmers they fight, you say to them, yes, no, I mean, these are Nigerians, you say to them. But because you don't want to, or you are incapable of doing it, you hide under the disguise and excuse of terrorism. Oh, it is bigger than we think it is. Our military are overstretched and all that. So all these things are just, that's how propaganda works. That's the whole point. So in real sense, Gumi is fighting for those that small class of people, that small group of people, right? The farmers and the elders. Either the elders they encourage you overdo their own thing, or that's a different conversation. Either the farmers they to kill them, or that's your vibe. Either because of the encroachment of climate change, they can't make things hard for both the farmer and the elders that they can't clash. Oh, that's a different conversation. That's true. That's true. It's a true picture of what is happening. Now, are they not killing each other and killing other innocent people getting caught in the crossfire? That's also a possibility. Now, that's where I think Gumi speaks from. But because, unfortunately, Boko Haram also active in a way that is inhuman, that, of course, there's no argument about that's a terrorist activity they are doing, regardless of the reason they are given to do whatever they are doing. Either they don't like Western education, they want their own caliphate, whatever they, that's not an excuse, right? But they are here. So an easy way out for the Nigerian leaders to say, oh, those elders they carry AK-47, they are bandits, they are Boko Haram. The farmers where we know now stick that they carry. But of course, they are robbing off each other. If I say Boko Haram, if I carry AK-47, they will brand me as a Fulani Elsa. Why would I do it? Why I don't go do it? If I kill a whole village, knowing fully well that the conversation will be, oh, those villagers, are they Christian or Muslim? Easy for me to do it, get away with it. Right? Because we will spend 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, 6 years, 10 years, they argue back and forth on that alone. Because it will be amplified by the medias. The leaders have incentive to make sure that is the narrative of the day, because it covered their own incompetence. More money for the media still to keep going. They know they don't care anyway. International interest too. They like that kind of narrative because opportunity for them to sell their weapon. Then the Islamic State, who are collecting taxes from local government, rural dwellers, putting the roadblocks everywhere, literally having their own government. Those ones have they do their own thing too. They crash from time to time with the Boko Haram. Those people said they are not the Fulani elders that Gumi speak for. Then we have, as we get them for Nigeria, and so then they for every other Cameroon and other bordering countries. So these people do clash within themselves. But another angle that we don't talk about, instead we victimize. I don't know about not victimize or they deserve, and it's the Nigerian military activities. To those that believe that we believe what do they call them? Now Chinese people they come mind this thing. Who is protecting them? So the Nigerian military they take over a whole villages and protect it for minors. We don't talk about those people too, right? Every havoc where the Nigerian military they commit, according to Amnesty International, right? We brand it to be what? Boko Haram, terrorism. And if Gumi come out, we say that Gumi they speak for those people too. So you see how the media they decided to just paint everything on one side and put it in form of the one-sided story that I'm talking about. And the danger of it is that you either be on one side or the other side. It robs us from actually having the real conversation that will actually lead to a change of government or put the government on their seat. So the same thing with the southeastern agitation, right? Oh, they are terrorists. Thank God, now during the same thing, now during Fulani the bandit terrorism era. So it was very quick to say, okay, now the Fulani terrorists they do the same thing, even if it's true. But other activities took place. All this undermine the real cause, the real problem of the average Igbo man. Ill treatment, not being seen as equal in Nigeria via the way the Nigerian state treats them, which eventually leads to say, you know what? It is not a force for us to just keep enduring this kind of treatment. We can actually live on our own. That has been overshadowed with other state actors being empowered and funded by these interests and the narrative that is heavily pushed by the media. So we lost each way, either way. These three interests, and then they win. The military big boys, and then they chop. The politicians, and then they chop. The outside men and women that do business, and then they chop. So, let's go argue. Let's go argue on Dr. Damage's show. Chima don't come, I think. So everybody that showed up to class today, from Oga George to Ja Jones to Oladipo to George to who was again? Who was again? Somebody was asking after Blessed. Blessed, if you are there and you are well, shout hallelujah. Ministable. Who goes there again? Who goes there? To everyone, thank you. And let's go to the next class, which is on the other building. Go to building A. You will see the door. The building is written Dr. Damages. That's the name of the building. If you enter it, the first class by your right, click on it. The teacher we are having today is a Canadian man from
by name Chima. Chim. So, ciao, ciao. See ya over there.